Well, good morning, good evening, good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to Zwift Community Live broadcast of the Zwift Racing League. We're into race number 2 in season 3 where there's of this 2024 year. I think that's where we're at. There's so many of them. We need to get down to like exactly how many we have gone through actually at this point. Is it 8 or 9, I think, total rounds in a lot of seasons so far, I think. So at this point, it's hard to count. We're at board. We are out on Island Hopper. McCurry Islands is what we're into. It's going to be a sprinter's delight out there today, taking on 1, 2, 3, 4 sprints per lap. It's going to be an exciting one here, Dave.
Yeah, you know what? I think it's 12. Nathan,
is it 12?
I think we're going to have do some actual research instead of guessing. But one thing I do know, there
season is 12. We're on round 12. Like, I mean,
season 12, round 4.
Three.
Okay.
3.
Well, all right. So there's one thing I can guarantee you: there's 100% chance of pain today in this race.
Well, Dave, 8 sprints.
Yeah,
on 2 laps.
We're back to kind of the classic, good old school WTRL, ZRL throwdown, right? Donnybrook style, because all of these points are going to be distributed. I'm going to estimate we're going to spend a lot of time with the Bs, I believe, today. So you're going to see just over 40 minutes for the fastest times through the stronger groups out here, but it's going to be as intense as it gets. FTS, FAL, all in play. So it's a complicated race. You're going to have to really stay on your toes out here. This is a day where you got to keep your eye on the prize. This is really the foundation of what ZRL is all about.
100%. Let's go ahead and take a quick look at the first sprint, actually. B category, we're in with Southern 1 to start, and the first sprint kicked off as you would expect, fast and furious in the B category. Let's see if I can get a
Boardwalk.
look at this. Yeah, they're on the Boardwalk sprint, actually, as you can see here. And it was right from the get-go, the Italians jumping off to a good start here with SST, but unable to hold on to the line. It was Coalition coming on through with Johan out of Sweden. Nice little jump, it looks like you're able to take down top points for FAL. He's probably got FTS as well. I'll double check and see in the back-end API from WTRL for that in just a moment. We can also take a look at the current league standings as we jump down into live action.
All right. While you find those, Nathan, I can talk about the power-ups today. It's the big 3, Arrow, Feather, and Draft, the OG power-ups. So they'll be distributed 4 different times: Boardwalk, Tide Pool, etc. Shisha along the way out here today. So that's definitely going to come into play as they're already on top of it. Look at these speeds they're carrying through. So thanks, Nathan. 1 race in here. Points are distributed linear fashion from 20 on down. So the top team today will collect 20. We'll see if Scanalatori Seriali, Team Disagio Be will be on top of the table still, if they can even hold on to a perfect run through the second race. ZRG or ZRG RBP in second there. This is all after the first race of the season, of a 6-race total season. Bike Fit Pro in third, Watt Fabric, Watt Gokel in fourth, MTB Training Warriors in fifth, Coalition Exodus in sixth, Cone V Sports Development in seventh. It's Ride Club Finland B in 8th, and then Dirty Beast Kraken in 9th. So that's where things stand for these Bs. We have a lot of racing to look forward to today, and you're going to see this a lot. Winding it up once again, it's Spidell that we're jumping in, one of the top teams. He represents ZRGR, and here we go, Nathan. He's getting out in front of it.
Yeah, Spidel, he did this last time actually for opening it up prior to hitting the actual segment, interesting enough. So he wants this FAL, as you can see, there's where the segment actually starts. So your FTS's fastest through segment are going to start ramping up from the back of the pack most likely. Look at that, 13, 12 watts per kilogram. You know, in this B category, you see these monster watts that are able to come through a lot of times. Some of the best sprinters a lot of times are in this B category. But look at Spidel. He timed it perfectly. He gets the FAL, and that's knowing your talent, isn't it, Dave?
100%. This is really key. So, very quickly, and I know that most of you have been along for the ride the entire time, but this is team based. Points are the name of the game here. There are a lot of way to earn them, FTS and FAL. Nathan, FTS, fastest through segment points, those can update as there are 2 laps out here today. So, those are always going to be in jeopardy until they've gone through that segment for the final time. However, the FAL, and that's fast first across the line points, those, once you score them, you bank them, and that's it.
Yeah, 100%. So FTS, that's always a big one when it comes to the conversation about what you are going to go for. It takes quite the rider to time things correctly to try and get both of them. So I think, Dave, what's your opinion on that? What's the bigger score out here today?
I was just going to ask you, Nathan, then I'll answer rather than answer a question with a question. But, what kind of a rider are you, right? Because you're right, very, very few are able to, because it used to be you start at the back, you ride through, and if you could start at the back and get to the front and win the sprint, you were guaranteed that you'd have the FTS and FAL. Nowadays, that technique really, just drafting dynamics, just gameplay in general, and advancements in technique and strategy out here don't really allow you to do that at will. So, yeah, you kind of have to focus on one or the other. You can't be a contact hitter and a home run hitter at the same time. So what you see then, Nathan, is, I think the more endurance type riders, the FTS is something that, where you see the higher, as far as watts per kilo riders, they're all in for these FALs, and it makes complete sense. It's the sprinter's jersey equivalent out here. Here's our man, Eric Schlange. So I love the fact Niall must ride for this team as well. Seems like it's Northwest, Pacific Northwest, Eric Schlange. You know him well from Zwift Insider, one of the greatest minds in the world of Zwift. Absolute legend riding for the Kraken.
Yeah, Dirty Kraken. Loving the name, and look at the setup here. He's got some glasses matching. You know what? How do you rate this? Not bad, hey? This is a good and a good bike selection for the day, in my opinion. You do see a lot of Trons out here today, but I think bike selection 100% with the Venge. It's going to be about speed. Even with that Shisha sprint at the top, I still think it's about speed up and over the top of that little climb. So you can draft a lot there. As the next sprint point, it's a little ways out, Dave. There's a nice little gap, but this dirt section with this punch in that 6%, plus, you get into some pretty high gradients. Somebody can make a move here and try and get away for FAL over the top of Shisha if they can stay away.
Yeah, I mean, Shisha is, exactly, Nathan. So this is a day where Zwiftcraft is absolutely at a premium. It looks like they're starting to push again here. Let's see if a little bit of a split happens at the back of the group. Maybe more action actually right now at the back than the front. Although, what's interesting is the reset factor that you have out here, how it's the wash, rinse, and repeat of racing today with so many points available throughout lap 1 and lap 2.
Yeah, now it does come on down over the top of that climb. They did press the pace, obviously a little bit up in the 170 beats per minute here for our man Eric Schlange. Looking back behind in the pack, Brunner struggling perhaps from Cone, or maybe sitting in. Dave, it's all about how much work do you actually do and how much energy you reserve. A lot of times for me, over that, unless I'm attacking through that dirt section, I'm actually just trying to sit in as best as I possibly can, reserve as much energy as I possibly can, especially with a climb coming up with a sprint at the end of it.
Yeah, absolutely, Nathan. So basically use 10.7K in as where the Shisha sprint completes, but it's this climb to the sprint, isn't it, Nathan? Where, I expect this group definitely gets the way what you're looking at now will go from this shape, a blob, into single file here in the next half of a kilometer.
Yeah, and I think that's, you are going to have a couple of riders hitting out to try and make those moves a little bit early and split things up, I think. Not a bad idea. I mean, definitely something that you can take that risk and make a move to try and grab those FALs. And that's the kind of rider you're asking, what kind of rider are you? That is right. I prefer that. There's something for me that feels pure about that, pure bike racing, rather than like waiting for this moment to go. But, I also am the kind of rider that might be able to grab both, but it's a little bit risky sometimes.
There's a certain ethos to racing. I think you represent this, Nathan, of, if it's out there, like, why did I climb the mountain? Because it was there. Well, same sort of thing. Why did I sprint for the points? Because they existed. And here you go, talking about the action in front of us, Nathan, another bit of a hit out right on schedule here, as this should stir the pot behind. You can see McNabb, one of the riders that's going to try to cover this, but Odgaard here, Bike Fit Pro, on, again, one of the teams that's been outstanding throughout the last few seasons. Bike Fit Pro back on the attack.
Yeah, there we go. Odegaard here. Nice little move here coming from this rider for Bike Fit Pro. They are currently in the standings, 3rd overall, looking for some good points. Scantillatory here. They have been just absolutely dominating. ZRG.
Monsters.
Yeah, the Germans there in 2nd. But Bike Fit Pro, this is a good move. I like how they're taking it to them here.
Emil is one of the really talented riders. I mean, when you take a look at it, 20-minute power inching up on 4 watts per kilo. I have a feeling, though, that he's playing a role for his teammates here. And this is how, once you get into the sophisticated level of racing in ZRL, he's going to help his teammates out right now in a critical part of this race. Because, Nathan, we're now coming up on about 1K to that Shisha sprint. And this is going to be critical out here. That's a good look at Emil, spending some times up in, looks like, the Alps.
Yeah, nice. Now, wow, what is teammate here coming up and over the top now? Bike Fit Pro on the attack. That's the setup here as the man out of Portugal. Let's see if we can get a name on this, but this is going to be P out of Portugal. Thumbwood back. He's got a good gap, Dave. This is a nice move.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Wow. I mean, this is more than just a move for these points, I have a feeling. Although now with that feather power up, again, we talked about at the top of the show, it's the big 3 today, Arrow, Feather, and Draft. They'll be picking up another one now at 10.7K in. So well played there. Nathan, feels like the Zwift is strong with this one.
Yeah, and he went right at the perfect time where the feather power up was used at a really solid time. Some of the steepest gradients with the most speed that we gained through that flatter section.
It really gave you delta.
Look at that, 11 seconds. How quickly that went out. I don't know. They can't bring back 11 seconds, Dave. That you can already see in the mini map up in the right hand corner. You can see that that sprint showing up very quickly, just off in the distance.
That's a real gut punch being thrown right now. These are the kind of moments. So this Portuguese rider here is having a huge impact on the back half of this race now. It's 36 total K, each of 2 laps at 18. And Nathan, that group is going to be decidedly different by the next time that they see this Portuguese machine on the front. So Bike Fit Pro, kind of with the old 1-2 punch there, Nathan. That was a great setup move by Emil here. I'm trying to figure out more on who P is. I bet you'll find it faster than I will, Nathan.
Yeah, we'll see in just a moment here. We're going to get this as it is SST, who are the current leaders of the series now going behind. So it is a team competition. He's going to grab this, but Mignosi here from SST, second across the line. ZRG sticking himself right in the middle of all this here. So he does grab 3rd points for FAL. Ahead of the other SST riders, that is going to be Bomamigo, Comba, and then it's going to be Fitzel from Bike Fit Pro. It looks like coming right on through. A little bit of separation now, Dave. Things are getting crazy perhaps out here for the rest of the FAL out there because, Dave, this is completely shattered.
Slammed into the gutter, Nathan, if there was a gutter in this paradise. Peresu is the man doing the damage out here on McCurry Island here. Bike Fit Pro all over the front because you can see that Fitzel's getting up there as well. So they are really now trying to make a run on Scannellatory. Nathan, let's take a quick inventory on what the Italians are doing on that Scannellatory team as they came in as the top squad here. And I am not seeing a lot of Italian flags anywhere near the front of this bike race. Thereabouts. This is really a big flip on what was a decidedly different course that we raced in the first of this season. This is much more complicated, and it seems like this Bike Fit Pro team is really moving the chess pieces around on the board well. ZRG also up there. At some point here, as we're out on lap 1, we'll have a chance to review just how huge this is. I believe Bike Fit Pro, Nathan, you mentioned we're 3rd coming into this one with 18
Yeah, they
points?
were third with 18 points.
Okay.
I think that, and I do think they're making a little bit more of a dig today to grab some extra points. It's going to be a good battle up at the top. We'll see what we can do about getting some points across as soon as we possibly can. As it looks like 20, I'm going to say 5 riders or so making this front group. Now, there's still some chasers here. A group looks to be... let us back here, please. Okay, there we go. So, from what I can see here, this is going to be a chase group of about 11 riders or so, bringing this
They
back.
might join
Coalition here, Thumbwood. Now, I think they're going to do it. Now, the thing is that they got a sprint coming up pretty quickly here immediately after.
Yeah, Tide Pool coming up next. I do think they make contact. You can see that they could almost smell the embrocation, the virtual embrocation coming off the legs of these riders as they come through here. Boy, but you're right. They've really ramped things up. It's touch and go out here. This is what we expected today. All kinds of action. But yeah, they are going to make contact, Nathan. So we're going to merge these two groups back together.
So Tide Pool Sprint, it is going to be the reverse of the sprint that we saw earlier, going through that section by the Tide Pools, but it's just the opposite of the second sprint out there today. So they'll be doing that in the other direction and restarting the lap. And we'll be getting into the second half of this race. We do have the women's Bs coming up after this. For those that are wondering what we are covering, we do get that question a lot in chat. You can head on over to Zwift Power and see all of the links on. And that's actually, maybe we'll just silence that as the ride-ons keep on coming on in. Everybody's giving everybody ride-ons on the women's side of things over here, which is awesome that they're encouraging each other, of course. 20 minutes to go. Zwift Racing League, Women's EMEA Central 1Bs is what we will be in with about 20 minutes from now, just so everybody knows as the ladies are warming up.
All right. Thanks, Nathan. So this group has been whittled down a bit. We have seen a large group of riders fighting back, and there's another attack. So Persu, the Portuguese rider, was one of the early animators, as both he and his team have been all in the mix. But all things said and done, as we complete lap number 1, you know that it's going to go absolutely pear-shaped out here for quite a few riders. But here we go. Persu again, Nathan, on the attacks. This is the second major move we've seen from this rider.
Yeah, and I like his panache. This is good to see. Nice little move here, and see if he can do it again. Fool me once, fool me twice. Maybe he'll get it twice.
Reminds me of a certain commentator I know. Yeah.
I think he's going to do it. I think he's going to do it again. Now, this one's harder to get away because it's full boogie flats in just a moment here. He's going to need some good distance. He gets 10 seconds coming into 500 meters. I think he's got it, but he's got to get that pretty quick here.
Yeah, and that's a really good number to use for really just about any of these groups, whether it's the A's, the B's, the C's, or the D's, is that 500 meters with 10 seconds. I think that, as they say, the tie goes to the runner. In that case, you'd be the runner, but you never do know. So Tide Pool Sprint, let's mark it at 15.7. So he's rapidly coming up on 1K to go to those sprint points. There's almost no chance. It would be unimaginable. Even the great Eddie Merckx, Nathan, wouldn't really go for both FAL and FTS in this situation. This is an all-in for FAL points, which is just the 10 points that you get for being the first rider over the line. That's huge for your team at this point.
This guy's so brave. I love it. This
you think it's more than
he's got it. He's got this, Dave. It's a pretty big jump in points to get this many FAL. I mean, he's doing some work for the team out here. I'm going to take a quick look here and get the exact numbers for it for scoring here for that FAL. And the points race, it's 10 per lap across the line. FTS, it's 20. 15, 10 for 1, 2, 3, but that's the whole race, right? And you're probably not going to get that on the second. Yeah, you're probably not going to get that on the second lap, most likely. But
you're probably not going to get as a solo rider either, are you? Being alone in the wind the whole time, you won't get it. So you're going to need to use the momentum in the draft of the peloton. So this is all about the 10 points. And you're right, Nathan. I mean, I think he should be in really good shape. I don't want to jinx him out here because this is what you get. They open up the throttle, and it is like a rocket ship. And there you go. These points are all going to matter. Even if you don't get the 10, Nathan, you can start stacking up a lot of points. Orange numbers are popping on the board. We'll watch how this one rolls through.
Speidel now, he keeps doing this early jump. I like it, but it's not going to be able to hold on. It is going to be hot gear coming out of Finland. Now dumping over the top. Oswald's there. SST. No, ZRG. ZRG getting the better, it looks like, of everybody else. Bike Fit Pro is going to go through first with P
5
there.
seconds,
Yeah. T-Boo here, though, for ZRG for that second and maybe also the FTS. No, he's continuing on, Dave. He says, forget it.
Down from 5 to 2 seconds.
But he's doing 6 watts per kilogram using an aero power-up. This is commitment, but it's within 17 meters.
Should.
Dave,
at this point, I would say you should
19 meters, 20 meters. They're not drafting him right now. And if I saw 15 meters and I would keep going. I would be like, come on. If they go to 1.1, 2.4, and I see 20 meters, they're not on my wheel yet. You guys got to work for it. I mean,
well. Yeah, he's going to pay a huge. He is going out now. You can watch that. It's going to 3 seconds. I definitely thought he would sit up and rejoin this group and do it again. We've still got a lap of racing remaining. He's not coming into. Well, you're going to get a good preview of the finish line here, as lap number 1 is going to be completed at right around 18K. But this is like the Don Quixote of racing right now. You know what I mean? Like he's going after the dragons in the field. They're actually windmills, but you know what? I've been wrong before. If he can hold on, so next opportunity just would have picked up another power up, and I'm amazed.
Mignosi now trying to go across, though. We are
this
seeing
guy's amazing. What an animal.
SST making a jump. He's making a jump now, as you can see, 3.6 watts per kilogram. Well, he's dropping now. You can't sit at that forever. I like what Scanalatori is doing here. It's going, okay, fine. We got to get one up there to grab some points, because those FALs are going to start disappearing. You're not going to get a lot of FTS on the second. Now look at what Scanalatori is doing. Oh my gosh, Dave, they're trying to send everybody across.
A raid. This is a jailbreak right now. So Scanalatori is absolutely rolling this. I have a feeling their patience might have paid off. It was no question the Bike Fit Pro dominating here. I was wondering what the Portuguese rider was doing. He'd been out in the wind for nearly half of that first lap, Nathan. Man, he was taking on more winds than a sailboat. But now at this point, we're seeing a big shift. This is going to be the Italian team. They came in as the top squad, winning last week. They kind of laid back a little bit in the first half of this race. They let the chess pieces move around on the board, and now they're making a major move, and this is going to have a huge ripple effect through the rest of this group. So, all right, we're going to complete lap number 1 here in the next minute. We should definitely take some inventory, because this one is all over the shop.
7 seconds, Dave. 7 seconds with 2 up. Bike Fit Pro, he's got to hang on here, because if he doesn't, these 2 are just going to go away and get into TT mode with 2. You think he's got it? I think he's got it. He's got it.
So this is really something as we take a look at the Italians now. So that's going to be those guys looking to pick up, and they do get what they need. It's these 3 away. Does this all come back together here? We've got 1 lap to go.
They do get not what they want. Can't always. All right, so it's going to be 9 seconds now at this point, and all the motivation is going to be for SST to just continue on. The only thing here, Dave, is that they've got this kind of like this fly that they got to get rid of. Swat it away, because he could just jump them at every line, right? Sit in, and jump them. Sit in, and jump them.
That's funny. There's a line in Breaking Away where Dave Stoller is talking about being Italian, and they ask, how do you say fly in Italian? And I believe it's Mosca. And that's exactly what the problem is here. One pesky rider. These 2 now should go into a 2-man Baron Kelly trophy mode, a 2-rider time trial. They used to be quite popular back 30, 40, 50 years ago in the sport, especially at the end of the season. Well, these Italians are going to get a chance to replicate that. It's going to be Bonamigo and Mignosi, but man, he will not go away. This is like that house guest that was going to stay for a couple of days, and 2 weeks later, they're still there eating waffles, right, Nathan? He's still there.
I've completely emptied the tank so far, it looks like, with Bonamigo trying to get rid of P here, but Mignosi's just sitting on the wheel.
Wow, they're barraging him now, Nathan, to try to get rid of him, like you see in a caravan at a world team race, where you take turns taking him off the back and then attacking him. That really shows you how talented or strong or resilient or all of that. The rider, it's Persu. I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly. That we're talking about the
thank you. I keep on calling him P. Mr. P. Good job,
this
Mr.
Is one
P.
Of the two.
I like this
is one
guy.
of the two Italians, Mignosi.
It is Persu. It is Persu. If we take a look here at the name.
Can't make that
I
up.
like this guy. Look at this guy. Big smile on the face. He's a happy rider, it looks like.
He looks like our friend Philippe a little bit with the smile, right? Upbeat guy. Cool kit, Rafa jersey.
Here comes Coalition, Dave. Big kick here from behind. 6 watts per kilogram. Looking to get involved. They'll come across now. All about that FAL. Nobody even cares about FTS anymore. There might be a couple in here, but the reality is with the reduced field at this point, maybe an Arrow, they might be able to grab a top 10 or so. But Dave, I think at this point, everyone's just thinking about the FAL as we got more coming from Finland, coming across RCF now, trying to make a big move. McNabb here from CND. This might just shut down that 17 seconds real quick. They're going to get the points, but I have a feeling we're going to see McNosey taking it down, Bike Fit Pro for second. It's going to be Bonamigo for third. Coalition now trying to hang on all the way to the line for that fourth place, but not going to be happening. It's going to be Shao here from the Cohen team now coming right on through. Can he hold on? I think he's going to do it. Nice job. But now this shuts down 10 seconds like that in a snap. Somebody's going to jump across, I think.
This group could split as well. So Boardwalk sprint done and dusted. Now that's the last time that we'll see that sprint. Shao, one of the Cone riders that we're with here. So so far, I have to think that if in that first lap, Nathan, if you start tallying up those points, you get a feeling Bike Fit Pro would have most likely been on top of the table, but that must be changing now with the Italians and what they are doing out here, which has really been rolling through, picking up the lion's share of the points. And it looks like now out of that front group, they're starting to attack out of this front group of 3. We still have quite a bit of racing on this second lap, but I think they have to be relatively fresh. Well, or are they, Nathan? Even though Persu is there picking up points for Bike Fit Pro, they were the third place team coming in after race 1. They're still getting at worst first and third, sometimes first and second. Never are they seeing second and third. So this is a really good situation for them right now.
Mm-hmm.
It's okay if he's still there. I wouldn't burn a whole bunch of matches. Just so you don't want to lose sight of the forest for the trees. So what you're doing is so good, even though it's a little bit of a bummer having Persu there picking up so many points, and he's should be. I mean, if he's smart, I would quietly just sit on.
Yeah, it's a good point. It's a really good point, and we'll see. Well, there you go. Look at this. Mignosi just starts to ride away. He says, forget it. And this is a smart move. These guys are so tactically savvy. They watch their bike racing. They know their bike racing, Dave. I mean, this is really well done because they just keep attacking him and say, eventually he's going to break. I mean, it's a good move here by SST to get away.
Most Italian grandmas know more about bike racing than American aficionados, right? It's just ingrained in the culture. They've seen every kind of move. They've heard stories their whole lives. These guys know how to race their bikes. And McNulty right now also is a human wattage wagon at this point as the SST rider. That's Scandalatore that we saw with 20 points. And boy, they're going to be hard to hold off from going back to back out here in season 3. So, okay, the finale coming up at 36K. This is second and third out on course right now, Bonamigo. So, all right, Nathan, if you're Bonamigo, do you just settle in and set your pace and not worry about asking Puerto to come, for Persu to come through and take pulls?
It's a good question. I mean, yeah, I think so. They're going to get caught. I mean, looking behind, I think they are going to get caught. I think that's exactly what's going on. Well, now Bonamigo now
really
pressing
like
the pace here.
Hooked on you.
This is interesting. If we take a look at the abilities between them,
more or less. I mean, really, those are basically identical numbers. It depended on what day they tested and what they had for breakfast that morning.
I think Persu has the opportunity to get away if he good point. That's exactly what I'm about to say. So I think that's a good point there, Dave, is that he's done more work, and also as far as rating goes there too, Bonamigo has the higher rating. So, I mean, he wins more races when it comes down to it. So, and this is more of a sprinter's course, I think. And I think that is what favors, 15 seconds. This is interesting, Dave. Bonamigo.
I think that, though, to be honest, I will see in the next minute. I feel like that those guys are kind of neutralizing each other out of this one.
Who's this guy? All of a sudden, literally, Coalition just shows up out of nowhere. Nice jump across on the dirt.
So this is always what's so fun to. That's Ville, the Finnish rider, Ville T, that we're looking at now. So injecting some fresh energy into this group, as that's the last thing that you wanted to give these two guys, because really what they were doing was mentally taking each other out of this one. It turned into a bike racing sumo match where they just locked up and like, I'm not going to take huge pulls if you're not going to roll through. Persu's been doing a ton of work, but now all of a sudden you've got Ville showing up, and the Finnish rider is ready to roll this now. So he's going to, let's see, what does this do? 15 seconds now to the front of the bike race. Nathan, I mean, always the temptation is to talk about the finale and who's going to win this race outright. That always matters, doesn't it? Even though we have so many points and different things to look back on, just winning a bike race is winning a bike race. And that's what Mignosi, the Italian, is trying to do here. Mamma mia, is he strong.
Yeah, we're gonna have to focus on that anyways, Dave. I think we're our pass through from ZP ZP to WTRL at this time of day sometimes doesn't always
a little tricky.
Yeah, well, it's not even tricky. It's just it's just the number of riders. I think just makes ZP freak out. But Amico, go. Then it's going to be V, and then Persu coming on through Ville. But Dave with the sprint behind these three, it looks like going to be caught. And Dave Persu, as you said, they put in a ton of work. He's trying to get back on terms, but I think this time they're not going to let this go. They back off completely again. These riders, all they care about are these sprints. This pack is not that interesting in catching those up ahead. I'd be jumping across at this point.
It's crazy because last time we went through this, I guarantee you that Persu would come back, and he didn't. And a lot of that was the dynamic back in this pack. I mean, Persu he certainly gets the rider of the race in my mind, even though it's Mignosi off of the front. I mean, when you look at this now,
most aggressive, you're gonna give him the commentators most aggressive.
Yeah, and animating.
He animated this. This would not be here. Mm-hmm. You wouldn't even have Gnosi off the front, most likely, without the instigation. I mean, that's a pretty. Maybe I'm making too bold of a statement. Maybe
he's
they would have gone
yeast
there.
In the starter in the south, he wasn't the full loaf of bread, but man, did he get this thing going! So that's Mignosi up off of the front right now. But you know what, Nathan? At 12 seconds, he's not gone for good. We've got quite a bit of bike racing ahead of us, over 15 kilometers out here with a fair amount of elevation gain. This group of three, so this is where you see Bonamigo helping the chase for sure, which he's doing there.
Yeah, and Persu now.
He's got a real tough one, Nathan. Rocking a hard place now for Bonamigo because he's got his teammate up the roads. He needs to feather this because if he wants to stay away from the peloton, he can't completely sit on this group either. Or else, it becomes a problem for them. A three-rider group with only two riders working, and one of them being Persu, who must be somewhat close to the end of his rope. The freshest rider out here. Oh, and now here's more riders jumping across.
Whoa! Scantalatori, just like out of nowhere. Where did that come from? Big jump coming from him. Schumann's here as well. And look, they're trying to... This is a great moment here, Dave, because they're on this little riser through the dirt, and this is where you can gain so much time if you just have the willingness. I love that little runway there with the boars. It's so great. Yeah, it's such but Dave, is that like a cyclist little like gut shot? Like, oh my gosh. Mignosi now. SST gonna get caught here. Schumann, WF, loving to see this. This is good. This is good stuff here, Dave. Watt Fabric making some moves. They're in the red and black. They're currently, here's the thing about Watt Fabric, Dave. They're in fourth place overall right now, but Dave, they've got two up front, and there's big points at the finish line, isn't there?
Yeah, absolutely. And it's really, really going to be interesting now because I think they've pulled the pin out here on this one, Nathan. I don't know that we see another regrouping as we have from here on in. 10K to go. It is an absolute Donnybrook now.
19 seconds. Pulled the pin is a good way to put it here, Dave. The grenade's gone off, and we've got two up front with WAP Fabric. SST is here as well. Bike Fit Pro with Pursue, unable to hold on. Vilay's trying to get there as well. They're going to start working together perhaps here to bring this back, but they're about to hit the Shisha sprint in just a moment. There's big points up at the top of that climb. A climb up ahead of them with that here as well. That makes it even more interesting as whether or not this is going to extend this lead or have they burnt too much energy up front. Watt Fabric versus SST. That's what this turned into now at this point. 3 seconds, but Pursue is not throwing in the towel. We've got Daz here from Dirt trying to get across now as well, looking to maybe make this jump. But also, Dave, with this climb, there could be some sitting in and just biding their time, licking their chops here a little bit and saying, no, that I can take down this climb. And next thing you know, that 20 seconds can disappear real fast on the Shisha sprint.
Boy, dramatically underestimated how long this race would take. We're already 38 and a half minutes in, Nathan, and still have quite a ways to go. This is going to go down as a tougher day than I think on paper. It undersold what this was out here, especially the way that these guys have been racing. That's a good look at Daz out of the United Kingdom. And look at that heart rate, over 180. Everyone's going to come out of today with a huge pool underneath them.
Yeah, so looking through here, I'm going to try and get a good look at the rest of the pack that's trying to make the chase behind. How many are left in this? Well, we got solo riders all over the place, Dave. This guy, here we go. This is the main pack now at this point. And I think our man Eric Sling is trying to play it smart somewhere in the back of this pack at this moment. See if we can get a good look at how he's doing, riding for that Kraken. Kraken, how is Kraken doing coming into this?
I am trying to remember. I believe they're
ninth place. Ninth place.
Okay.
250 points.
Lower mid pack.
Yeah, so a couple of points to make up here. What's going on here, Mr. Schlangy?
I'd like to see more from the Kraken guys.
Yeah, come on, Kraken.
Yeah,
what's going on here? I think they got an upgrade, though. I think they did get an upgrade in recent memory, I believe. He's got plenty in the energy bar. Look at that. So come on
saving
now.
It for the end of the race. Look,
That's
watch
not
out
even a real
Schlangen.
Profile picture either. We need to really get on. What's going on here?
Boy. Yeah, so you know what? I'm disappointed, flat out. Disappointed.
My God.
You know, like, I mean, Eric is such a leader in our community. To just see that
like he's not a leader now. No, my gosh, I love it. This is great. Okay, real quickly, everybody, just going to highlight that.
Brought McNulty back, huh? That's significant. I easily imagine.
This is the main climb here. This is the main climb now for the rest of this.
So
and it's got two tiers, right? This is not just one tier. It goes up, flattens out a little bit, then it kicks again to the end. This isn't a lapped rider. Schumann just went for it here, but he's getting on the back end of this here with again, they know what they're doing here, but Schumann now responds from Watt Fabric. But again, SST know the moments to go when the most speed is there. The Italians are really smart on this one, but he's just got some raw power to come across.
If I were racing in this race, I would literally be a lapped rider on a 2-lap race, which is so sad. But anyways, this is going to be now, Nathan, not our final sprint because we've got Tide Pool coming up. One thing I'd like to point out is, could you imagine the athlete that got an FTS in the second lap out here today after what they've been through? I can't, to tell you the truth. So FTS points certainly would be awarded the first time through in all of these segments. But I'm going to really look now at the Scanalatori team, the Italians who were leading coming in. They seem to have been in all the right places at all the right times when it comes to these sprints, along with Bike Fit Pro so far today. So we might see a little bit of a change in our top 3.
Real quickly, just want to highlight the women have started. They're going to do their boardwalk sprint in just a moment here. We'll see if we can time this well, or if they're going to time it well enough that we'll be able to catch it as they do head on into that first sprint. We'll make sure to keep an eye on that, or at least get a replay for everybody here. But this sprint's about to open up, though. Schumann here at the front as he starts to wind things up. I think that Bonamigo might get the better of him, though, because of this. He's in the draft still, but it's not the best draft. This is interesting here, Dave. Will Schumann have another kick? Backs way off, actually, here. They're really playing games with each other with that 7 seconds to the chasers now.
Well, so Bonamigo spent quite a bit of time out in the wind. Schumann seems to be very savvy, the Watt Fabric rider, but there you go. It's just Bonamigo and Fuego out here today as the Italian has hit out with authority. It's not over, though. Schumann is going to try to close this down. This is a better one. He's got the right power up. The draft power, if he needed that a little. Well, actually, what can you do, right? That was a good jump from Bonamigo. That was some good, not just Zwiftcraft, but racecraft that we're looking at now. These two going clear. We're down to, let's call it 7K to go at the Tête de la Corsa, the front of the bike race. And it's a greatly diminished chase group behind them, sitting at 7 seconds back. Now it's Ville, the Finnish rider for Coalition. Daz up there for Dirt. Magnosi, the teammate now, so he should have a chance to sit in and recover a little bit here as we move into 7K to go at this point. It's finale time. These are our two leaders. A lot of points have been distributed along the way, and there's barely a peloton left.
Yeah, real quickly, let's go ahead and take a quick look at the ladies. Just got done taking on their sprint just a moment ago for the Boardwalk in the B category for the women. Nice little sprint here coming on in from them as they came across. This is going to be Synergy here at the front with a good kick there. I believe that's going to be Horner, actually, from the level Bs. I mean, dominating kick. She got the jump on it, and this is something I think a lot of riders are going to have to learn about these sprints out here with the new pack dynamics and the way that they work. If you make the kick early enough with the reduced CVA being on the front, it does benefit those kind of moves. So that's a quick little replay of how things played out for the women's B category. We'll jump back in with them in just a moment here. As
that group size
66 riders starting in the B1.
That's awesome. Yeah, I mean, I guess if you want to get to close to 20,000 riders in the league, that's what it takes, right? That's going to be your bread and butter there, the B's and the C's and the D's, and the numbers are phenomenal. So great to see back to the action right now here on the front. So Schumann, quite strong, did not get his ticket punched by Bonamigo earlier. It looks like...
This is a replay of the catch, actually. Just showing... Sorry about that. I should have said that, Dave. This is the replay of the catch that is going to be made here in just a moment. Big work from Watt Fabric to come back. Daz is there as well. Bike Fit Pro, Mignosi, Coalition with Veal. They're 19 seconds up from the chase there. So back to live images. That was the catch, actually. My fault on that, Dave. I need to get that replay little graphic back up for you. Apologies on that. But NH here from Watt Fabric now, it looks like, as well as the other teammates. So, Dave, Watt Fabric have the numbers here. Will they start playing games at you think?
Well, so...
Oh, sorry, SST just joining. My bad. I didn't notice that they have a second rider from SST, so Bonamigo and Mignosi both here.
Because they've been the two that have been, if you've been following the plot line here for our men's Bs as they come into 5K to go. This front group is a little bit of a surprise, to tell you the truth, that it's worked out this way, but it just shows you what a Machiavellian chess match this is. So, Nathan, we can start identifying the riders that we've got up here. Obviously, the two Italians, Mignosi and Bonamigo. They're in that dark blue jersey with the white sleeves. Attack out of this group, though.
Schumann again making a move. This is coming into the Tide Pool sprint here in just a moment, I believe, as now Veal, a little bit of a punch from him. There's just these little jabs. These are just little jabs here to see who's paying attention, I think. I think that's really what's going on here, is that this is just who's going to respond. Are they going to be able to come with at this point? And are they going to just let me go? Because they're trying to, at 46 minutes, Dave, with this many sprints, there's a lot of energy that's been sapped from the legs.
Out. Well, this is how you do it. Schumann attacking again. This man has been relentless out here. Nathan, the sprint, actually, the points available at 33.5-ish K in, so we're still inside of 2K, but still quite a ways away. So that's not a surge for the sprint. Maybe trying to split that group up, finding who's still got legs left. A bit of a test attack is even possible now, because that's the first time we've really seen Bonamigo a little bit slow to rejoin.
Yeah, that's a good point, as perhaps Bonamigo. He might also be... You know, you do the work, and you got enough riders. There could be some savviness to the way that he's riding too. he could be thinking, look, I've done plenty of work here at this point. I don't need to close that down. I'm going to let somebody else pull this in because they've got coalition here.
Yep.
They've got plenty of firepower to bring Schumann back. So
Well, a good team, Nathan, with two riders in real life road race would definitely say, I'll cover the first one, you cover the next, and we just keep covering until one goes, right?
Yeah, it's a good point. Most likely what's going
And so maybe his teammate took his turn there, and that's certainly possible. These guys, you're right, they're operating at a high level. So Bike Fit Pro, though, I want to make sure I'm right here, but I think they only have one rider.
Yep.
With the rider of the day, Persu.
Yep,
yeah,
100%.
Interesting.
Real quickly, Dave, let's go ahead and jump across the ladies because they're not going to be doing their Tide Pool Sprint anytime in another 2K. They're getting into it, though, as the ladies are starting to ramp up. Look at this falling way back. Some of the smarter FTS here. Got the FAL runners, though, toward the front. Healy there from level coming all the way through. Look at the speeds now. This is a totally different kind of sprint. And that was Hunger. Hunger, actually, the rider who's going to be able to maybe take the biggest points on the day because she went from back to front, Dave. I think she got FAL and FTS.
We talked about how it takes a very special rider to do that and said it was nearly impossible in this day and age. And there you go. As Hunger going to be a rider who we'll wait for them to score that, but it looks like she did exactly that. So, Nathan, they're going through this sprint the opposite direction, aren't they? As we take a look at the guys.
No, so they're actually the same direction.
They're going the same way.
Yeah, they go, but
they
do like a weird figure eight where it makes it so they go the same way. It's interesting how it works, actually. So I made a mistake earlier saying they were going the opposite direction, but no, they actually just do the same sprint the same way, just a second time. NH, is he going to get it? I don't think he's going to get it. It's a good jump, but I have a feeling that they're going to come through. Yeah, Daz there from Dirt's going to be able to just nip it at the line. Nice timing from him. It is going to be Coalition next through second, then an H. Mignosi, Schumann, Bonamigo's getting dropped here, Dave. Bike Fit Pro as well. I would just continue on. I wouldn't want them with us, especially, look, at this point, you drive the pace if you're Watt Fabric. And that's exactly what they're doing.
Yeah, well, and as you mentioned earlier, the most points available on the scoring schedule are at the finish line. So Schumann can do his team, Watt Fabric, a huge favor. No reason to lay off at all. Now just keep throwing more coal on the fire. It's coming over the top. It's going to be Mignosi. Now he's been such an animator out here today. Now we see Daz, the dirt rider. This is blown to bits at this point. They're down to 1.5K of racing remaining here. These are your top 10 spots all taken up.
Yeah, and we can see here NH, Watt Fabric, Dirt, Schumann's on, and so Watt Fabric getting the better of it, and they're going to just keep on throwing, as you'd say, coal on the fire here, Dave. They're just going to keep on trying to keep this high because they do not want SST to come back. They don't want Bike Fit Pro to come back because this is what it's all about right now, Dave. It's about getting up this leaderboard. Watt Fabric currently sitting in fourth. This is a good way to try and grab big points. 40 points at the line, 35 per second.
They could move into the top three. It looks like they might be moving into the top three. So this is absolutely massive for Watt Fabric. They played their cards perfectly here in the back end of this race. They could even put two riders in the top three out here today. This is Jens Schumann. Jens has been incredibly active, but only at the right moments. It didn't feel like he was ever wasting a watt, just applying them with purpose and force. And now Jens Schumann looks to me, Nathan, like he's going to be really hard. Everybody back in that chase group has got to be really running on empty at this point.
Yeah, you can see here. Oh, and he saved the feather power up for this moment here. A little bit of an uphill grind, 4% gradient. Perfect timing with that. They're trying to chase those 7 watts per kilogram here now coming from him. Though, will he be able to hold on is the big question. It's almost, you can see the finish line off in the distance now at this point. You can see it right-hand side here. Well, you can't quite see it here.
Feather perfectly. I mean, he knew that he had that time down to the 10th of a second with his feather there. As this is going to be Jens Schumann, our leader. He's down to 500 meters to go. I don't know if he can hold on or not, but even sometimes they say, "What, shoot for the moon? If you miss, you end up amongst the stars." Well, in this case, even if this doesn't work, he's still going to get what, 4th place at the worst. 5th at the worst, I guess.
I think we just can't see the finish line. Actually, he's going to cross right there, I believe.
Oh, he got it.
Yeah, he got it. So, he's still pushing on. Interesting.
Or is there another line? Yeah, I have a feeling that
There it is. I
up,
do see it. I
yep,
do see it. My bad. It is
that's
around the
it.
corner
Yeah,
there. Yep, my bad. Around the corner.
that fooled
Nicely
me
done.
earlier.
Yeah,
Actually,
it got me. It got me there for sure. Sometimes we can't see them if we're not in the event. Happily, we are in the event.
there you
Nice
go.
little sprint for
Jens,
second
good job.
place. What fabric? Are
His
they going to
teammate.
go? Oh, no, I don't think so. I don't think that they got. I think it was SST got the better of it there. We'll have to wait and
Back-end
see.
API
We'll see in
is
just a
always
second
going to.
here.
Yeah, what you see does not necessarily mean that's what happened. So
Sprint for 9th and 10th. Bike Fit Pro, SST. Watt Fabric again. Going to be getting. Look at this. What?
wow. Oh yeah,
That's a lot in the top 10. They put like 4 into the top 10, Dave.
Well, unfortunately, we don't know what happened along the way. There were so many points, 8 different sprints today. So gotta wonder what happened along the way, because if you scored that just on the finish line, it was Watt Fabric. But Scanalatori picked up a lot of points today. But let's go back quickly because we got a lot of racing throughout the day. Jens Schumann, this is how they finished today. Jens Schumann first over the line. It was Daz coming through for second. So the dirt rider actually ended up second, right? And Niels H was the...
Yep. 100%.
Yep. So there you go. Daz for second, Niels H for third, Gil Bignosi for fourth, Ville, the Finnish rider, in fifth, Diego Bonamigo for sixth, Persu, rider of the race. Certainly Persu, incredible today. The Portuguese man in seventh, Tom Hagman for eighth, Paul Knepper in ninth, and Alessio Comba in 10th. So, did the Italians get enough up there at the end of the race? We'll have to go back and see how that all scored. To the women now, women's bees today is a big day of racing, has us heading over, and you can always go to Zwift Power and easily look for that Zwift Racing League and the Zwift Community Live icons to see what races are being broadcast. But this is the women's EMEAE Central 1, and we chose the bees today.
Nice little push off the front. Rave have been extremely aggressive up until this point, but now WLC taking over as we hit the Shisha sprint. Early on, Rave was the aggressors, and we also saw some big moves there from the level Bs. Now WLC, though, making moves. Love to see it.
Yeah, all right. So, we'll remember now again for people who are joining for this broadcast, we've got a lot of sprints. FTS, fastest through segment. FAL, first across the line points. Usually first lap you see the biggest distribution given in the FTS. We already saw a rider. Is it Amanda Argue that we saw earlier? We'll get our bearings straight here, but we saw a rider do what's really rare, very tough to do, that's for sure, getting both the FTS and the FAL, so meaning she would have started at the very back of that group and ridden all the way through. Well, that's what you'd like to see on your phone when you start the day, a full charge. Same thing in racing here, Emily, full charge. There is our new, that bar that you see there, what were we calling it, the power bar? I forget the catchphrase.
Yeah, sure. Energy bar, power bar.
Energy bar, right.
Mana points, health bar, action points. We're still working on it.
Yeah, right. So life bar. Yeah, that's what we've been talking about. And you can see Wahoo Lacole's really starting to, they've got 3 right, or actually, 2 right up on the front. I'm trying to see if the rest of the team is laying in the wings.
Yeah, WLC, they've got plenty here. Looking through one, at least 2 on the front. A little ways behind. Well, I'm seeing Pamela Levine here coming from I Race Like a Girl. A little bit of a push now coming on through. Who is this rider? Very strong. Hunger coming from Germany. I'm not familiar with A Hunger, but she has been aggressive and definitely somebody it feels like to be watching out for. Anna Katrina Hunger. This is a rider that I have a feeling is going to be super aggressive on the day as she pushes to the front. She's got plenty of, it looks like draining the tank a little bit here. Looking behind, it's putting a lot of riders into some struggle, it looks like, as Raveheart's trying to stay on terms. You can see now just at the back in that red, that is going to be the fire starters doing what they can. But Dave, it's about to open up for this sprint as it flattens out. Dave, it's such a cruel one because it's a climb right into a punch.
Yeah, Shisha sprint is what we've got coming up. The group is large. I mean, so we're halfway through, more than halfway through lap number one, and very, very strong B women's field. But this is going to blow up. If you're finding yourself close to your limit right now, well, this sprint should burst the bubble.
Castelli coming on through. Team Castelli, presented by Elite, actually is here. Hunger now with another little bit of a kick. On and off, though. You don't like to see it. And she's got to be careful about that. That could be, I have a feeling she's going to get picked up, Dave. That on-off cadence is really a big no-no. And Healy now level, as you can see, coming right on through. Vittori, I'm not going to make any assumptions there, but we saw it 3 or 4 times there. Hunger's got to be careful. Going to call it out as within WTRL, on-off cadence is within a certain amount of seconds is actually a banned practice. So if you didn't know that, on-off cadence within WTRL rules is a banned practice. Within 1 minute, you cannot be on and off your cadence within, I think it's like a 4-second or something like that. It's within something like that. There's actually some data in the background that picks it up and does auto banning actually if it does happen in the race.
All right, so picking up the action here out on lap number one for our B women, and it is full flight right now for this peloton here as they're on this descent. Starts to flatten out right now. You can take a look around and then you see that regrouping that happens. It's going to be really, really tough now for the next couple of kilometers to even try to recharge out here, but this is your moment.
Yeah, and it looks like, looking behind here, 13 seconds back now for the main pack. It is going to be Beaver, Fairweather, Ronberg, Sisu also trying to get back on terms, it looks like. Who's the Sisu rider here? Yates now to the front, it looks like. 3.5 watts per kilogram here coming from Yates, as it's McKenzie trying to make the chase back, Dave. And a lot of times this is also one of the cool stories when you do get dropped and the working together. You hear about it, Dave, from a lot of the riders in the packs that kind of find each other out on course and find a little bit of an ability. But here's the thing. This is they're fierce, aren't they, Dave? And you're not necessarily going to be some of these riders are going to say, "Hey, we've got riders up ahead. We're not making any chase. You can go right ahead." But in around 30th place or so, there's still some points to be grabbed for them, and they're going to be wanting to get across if they can.
That's an interesting question. At what point do you reach that threshold, right, where you sit on a group like this? I think in general, the spirit of racing, and there's going to be heavy legs, of course, pools of lactic acid all over McCurry Islands right now. But in a group like this, you've got so much to gain when you have a group chasing back, I should say. So going to the pens here now, as well as racing launching every few minutes out onto course today. Our women's Bs well underway. They're actually, in their case, next up is the tide pool sprint for the second time for them out here on their first lap.
Just real quickly for everyone's information about what is being covered out here today. That is the Western 1B category that is taking off in the right-hand side of the screen. Let's see how the men are getting out on course. I just want to make sure, because as I know some riders are going to be riders, and those that are looking to view those riders are going to be looking for Open EMEA Western 1B men. That is what is taking off. They'll be hitting their Boardwalk sprint in just a moment. So we'll try and keep that story and narrative going. But what we are watching closely at this moment is going to be the Women B category for Central 1. And nice little jump here. You know, Mackenzie, I guess I grabbed the right rider because she is the instigator to go across. Fairweather trying to grab on there from WLC. Unable to grab the wheel and has to just do the work, it looks like, at the front of that pack because Yates just made it happen. She's gonna juncture, Dave, but right before they hit the sprint, really.
Well, it would certainly be nice to be able to catch the tail of the slipstream here. So that is the Tête de la Course that we're looking at, the front of the bike race. Good job, Mackenzie Yates. That's the fight that you're looking for, the spirit of Sisu. I race like a girl. That's a potent combination of two great teams right there in the Kalini edition. Let's hope she can get into the slipstream before they start sprinting here. This is really critical, to tell you the truth. Because once they hit out, I mean, you've got to be closing this gap down right now. I hate to be overly dramatic, but come on, Mackenzie, get up in there.
Yeah, as you can see now, 4.5 trying. Hancock from Synergy unable to really drive it. Are they driving the pace a little bit at the front?
Not
I
yet. I
don't
mean, look
feel
at the
like
shape
it.
of the peloton. She
Yeah.
should be in the draft now. She's probably just starting to get that benefit. This is the hardest part. Anybody who races bike, there she goes. Great job, Mackenzie, getting back into the peloton. So now,
now the
some
attacks
deep
start,
breaths.
though. We see the feather power-ups being used. Well, they're not
She
actually
got this just in time.
That's interesting that those feather power-ups are being used and nobody's really going anywhere.
We should talk about power-ups today, arrow, feather, and draft, the big three. But this is a moment, if anyone is happy right now, it's Mackenzie. Now the other riders are starting to rejoin, so they've really sat up right as Mackenzie joined.
Yeah,
I mean, that rider joined with so much ferocity. She went
really
right.
Open it up, though. Here we go. This is the moment, isn't it, Dave?
Well, they've completely let that entire group back in the back door now. Holding off a little bit, maybe a little bit of trepidation about just what a tough day this is. They just watched the B men race for almost 50 minutes out here. Even they did race for more than 50 minutes, didn't they?
Wait, did they just rejoin that whole pack?
They just did. Rejoined? That whole group came back. So,
and there might be riders just have been sitting in, just waiting for the next sprint.
Sprinted.
This is going to be interesting now.
So the sector starts at 15.3. The line for Tide Pool Sprint at 15.7. They're just going to ride this very much as a standard sprint. First move's going clear. Not really even, though. Just kind of positioning now. So this is going to be a straight up sprint for points. No FTS, I would think, this time. Although you don't know. There you go.
Healy, level, now on the move in the neon kit. Nice little kick. Is she going to be able to stay awake? Team Castelli coming through. I think that Castelli here with Burble able going to make it happen right at the line. Just slips through, it looks like. Grabs those FAL, maybe even FTS as well. Hunger's there now coming through, but only for third. And we see another neon kit there. That's a top 4 for the rider.
Good job, level Velo, right?
Yeah, nice one here from the German rider, now up and over the top. Nobody with that counter. You know, it's really difficult to counter after those initial kicks, isn't it, Dave?
Yeah, well, especially when you're already so deep in the pain cave and then they've knocked your flashlight out of your hand. So now you can't even see where you're going. So you're probably going to be just trying to regroup in this next few K. They're one lap in. That's a good preview of the finish line. But yeah, these riders are going to be really, really deep into it now as we're starting to see another wave getting dropped now here. These were some of the riders most likely that chased back so hard right before that sprint. Then, I mean, it's like jumping from the fire into the frying pan, isn't it, Nathan? You chase so hard to rejoin the group, and right when you get there, they start sprinting. So my heart always goes out to these riders. So Peloton always forges on, though, as we take a look at a huge lead group here. Wahoo Lacole really well positioned now. All the riders sitting up in the first third of the group, but no one in the wind. Don't do better than that at this point if you're getting ready for a bit of a raid into the back. Let's take a look, though, at that this is early going, excuse me.
Yeah, this is the men's B category, B1's EMEA Western 1 here for their first sprint. Just wanted to highlight what's going on as their race is happening in the background. And Talent Fry, I got the correction there. They've been messaging us and trying to get me to be saying the correct pronunciation. Talent Fry, not
This is
Frey.
the first I've heard of this, so it's like French fry, Talent Fry.
Talent Fry, not Frey, as it is going to be Schwanden.
My apologies. I think we just kind of went with that.
No, it's me. It looks, look. That is the way it is pronounced by the Germans, okay? And I'm not I'm 100% going to say that is the German pronunciation of that word. And I will respect the German pronunciation of that word.
For sure. Was it your wife that told you?
You know, because she speaks
she
so
didn't
many
really
languages. She speaks so many languages. No. Here's what happened. I mean, like, very clearly. She speaks so many languages that it's like, well, both are correct. Because it's like you say it this way in German, but that same word is pronounced Frey if you are in another country in another language. So which one it was? Well, we got the correction there.
So, you know what? Gabby might want to look into being a politician as well. With that kind of diplomacy,
No,
I'm impressed, Gabby. All
I
right,
don't know about that one.
hey, let's get back to the front of the bike racing. Here's a fire starter living up to it. Ray Firestarter, always one of our favorite teams, and this is going to be. We'll do a little research and get a name for you, but right now we're going with L.
Yeah, I'll get some information here as
I'll
quickly
find
as I
it.
possibly can.
Let me handle this. So looking at our women's bees now, again, we've got so much racing here just to help you follow along there. This is going to be Louise. Nice, Nathan. Would you
She's
call
got
that
this
anime?
awesome anime.
Is that
Yeah,
anime?
yeah. There's
Okay.
so there's this cool. I forgot the name of the exact anime that it is, but there's one that's like all about bike racing. Actually, like the whole thing is about racing bikes and
Like the storyline, the
Somebody
character
help
as a
me
racer.
out, like what the background is, or what that one is specifically, because I am so sorry that I do not remember. I haven't watched in probably over 10 years, but that's most likely going to be that specific one. Luis, love to
Is it
see
a woman
the character.
bike racer?
Nah, well,
Or
see,
bike? It's
I
both.
haven't been
Right.
I haven't been around it for long enough to
Okay.
remember any of the storyline, other than I know that there's this really popular anime that does have bike
Involving
racing as the
bikes.
main storyline. There's like a yellow kit involved as well, specifically. I think is a young man actually that was one of the main characters. Somebody's gonna correct me in chat real quickly here, most likely. Hopefully. As
I'm waiting for it to come in right now. Yep. We'll see what they say.
Well, we've got the boardwalk sprint here coming on through in just a minute here. Go Rave. I think Louise is watching most likely, it seems. She's coming out of Great Britain and cheering on her own team. Al home here from SZ now, making a little bit of a push on the front, trying to set up maybe for this next boardwalk sprint. Again, most likely going to be all about the FALs on the second lap. This is when the breakaways. Yowamushi pedal. Thank you so much, Danny Enzo. Coming on
Nice.
in, helping
Danny
me out.
Enzo in the house. Love that guy. I am a huge fan. You turned me on to Danny Enzo about 6 months ago. Now I'm commenting with fire and clapping hands
Fire?
and stuff on his Instagram. No, that dude's awesome.
I'm
man.
commenting
Positivity.
with fire. Like, oh my God.
I meant the positive, like you're on fire, man.
Yeah, I
But
get it. I think it's hilarious though that like I've got fire emojis
Fire.
coming out of my hands. Here we go.
Like Zeus. No, but
Those are lightning
thanks
bolts.
always.
I'm just messing with you, Dave.
Those are watts.
Yeah,
Lightning
those
bolts
are watts.
equal
There
watt
we go.
to me.
There we
Yeah.
go. Bars Coalition now. Here we go. Burbell again. She had a good sprint last time through. Castelli, I have a feeling on the back end of this. Be on the watch out for them. I need to actually get us exactly where the standings are for these ladies, actually. My apologies on that. Just really
thanks.
get
I
an
was just-
idea of how things are standing between them. Hunger makes a move again, though.
Good time to go do it though, because this will be fun to watch. Is Anna Hunger going to be off the? Well, this is for the points, isn't it? Coming up
Yeah,
right
but
here
that's
at
going to be.
1920
I'm
for
sorry, but
Boardwalk.
that's just a little too obvious. That's going to be a disqualification. I'm just going to call it because it'll be said in the chat, and that one's really you can't pedal that way. Like that's those. I don't know. I mean, I might be wrong. Is it sticking? It doesn't look like it's sticking though. I'm not positive, so I apologize if that's not doing what I think it's doing there. But you're really not. Like that if they are sticking, then that's not a good thing. And you know, everyone's gonna see it around, and we just like to be really transparent and be like, hey, here's what we're seeing. So I'm gonna watch the next one if it happens again and look and see if things are sticking, because big jumps like that, they're just not. There's most likely some, and I'm not saying there's anyone. Here's one thing I want to be really clear about. Like, people discover ways of going fast in Zwift without knowing that perhaps that there's anything wrong happening. Okay, everybody? Like, we need to like not assume the worst, but also the rules need to be read, and those pedaling styles are banned from the racing.
I mean, yeah. I mean, this is one of those things that I fully understand how what you're saying can happen, where you're like, wow, this really works. But I'm going to put this at the equivalent of once, if you have never heard of sticky watts, then you should definitely go look into what that is. It's a brutal technique. It's something that is highly effective and highly illegal, right?
Yep.
And you just can't do it.
Essentially, what happens is that the power source is giving free wattage over and over and over again because of the stopping of the pedaling.
You're juking the system, and you know you are, is the thing. And so I can understand how for a little while you might think, wow, this really makes it a little bit easier for me here. But you realize pretty quickly that you're cheating. You're cheating the system, I should say. I'm not saying you're cheating because that's a harsh thing to say. It's like calling someone a liar. No one's doing that. But what we're saying is there's this thing called sticky watts. And unfortunately, you could even do it without even knowing you're doing it. You can do it without having anyone have ever taught you how to do it. But once you realize you're doing it, unfortunately, you have to stop. Can't do that.
Did you guys hear like the interesting
Did
banging?
someone slam?
Gabby's racing the A1s right now, and I had to like go fix her bike real quick for her because she's sprinting so hard that it's almost falling off the front of the. Oh my gosh! Like everything's happening, everyone.
It's crazy. I'm yelling about sticky watts, but I just made the point, Nathan, that if you are doing it, you didn't know. We're going to get you up to speed. Let's work
on that one. Let's work on that one. Yeah, good call. Good call. Hey, Dave, there's a breakaway in the men's race here, it looks like, as they make their way through the Shisha sprint. It looks like the women, they're about to ramp up for their next time through Tide Pool in just a second here. They are 22K in. The men here are now about 9.5 for their first time through Shisha after they made their way over the top of that little 180 degree or so corkscrew of a climb. But now into this, it is going to be dirt with Wowski off the front. We'll get some league standings for this as well in just a moment here. Okay. But I think he's got this here, Dave. BZR Lions on a little bit of a push here toward the front of the main pack, but then they back right on off. I think Wowski here. Wowski, has he done it?
Looks good. So let's talk about what we got. We're out on lap number 1. She's already done it, actually. As this is over the top of the Shisha climb, correct? That we're looking at.
Yeah, he's coming into the sprint here in just a moment. Just a moment here. We
at
just
10.7. At 10.7 is that sprint line. So he looks really good to me here.
Yeah, I think he's got it here. 10 seconds up. I think the main pack may catch the guys behind. He could just continue on with the amount of time he's got, 20 seconds.
The next one, Nathan, I mean, I would agree because the finish banner comes up. They'll complete lap 1 at 18K in. If he's still, last time we saw a rider with this kind of advantage, they were still holding on. That would have been Persu, the Portuguese rider that we saw in a somewhat similar situation racing in an earlier race today, where he ended up being a part of the breakaway that went to the finish line as things started disintegrating behind him through the back half of the race. But watch out for Wowski. He's now into that final sector. There's the points waiting underneath that orange arch. That orange truss, although it's not really a truss as it looks inflatable, but we're going to be given the full 10 points. I don't know that that'll be an FTS, Nathan, but I don't know that it won't be because he's grown the advantage to 12, 13 seconds. There should be a real rush behind him now, though, as they'll be sprinting for 9, 8, 7 points, descending down to 1. So that's going to be 9 and 8 points distributed there. And maybe
KST,
FTS.
Nice job to KST here. They take second and third. The Hellhounds here, I think, getting Steven Titgat
That's
here.
That's huge.
BZR, Avis. This is
better than a first.
This is the man from BZR, Avis Synergy. Good to see Steven Titgat. He's one of the leaders, part of the leadership team actually over there. So this guy knows his esports.
So BZR, do they have the Lions and Avis Synergy, or is Avis Synergy the Lions?
Well, it's like a subsidiary team of the Abus Synergy. So BZR is where Abus Synergy came from,
In
right?
sixth place there.
The Belgian
is
Zwift Riders is
Lions
the
won.
original
Yep.
team, and then Abus Synergy is kind of the elite team that came out of that whole team. Is essentially what's
Gotcha.
going on there. For those that, I mean, there's a lot of people who watch the broadcast
sense.
probably have no idea of that background, right? Like, wait, BZR is related to Abus Synergy. How does that work? BZR, Belgian
almost
Zwift
like-
Riders.
Abus Synergy is almost like the commercial sponsorship element of the team that races at the elite level.
That's exactly what it is. Exactly.
So let's take a look at the table. Oh, can you leave that up for one more second?
Oh,
Or
yeah,
do you want to
real
score
quick.
these?
Go ahead.
Yeah, that's really quickly. Dirty Beast, the Hellhounds on top with the Dragons in second. TRB, Team Rheinhessen Bergsurf third. Team KST, who look like they're having a really good race, as Nathan noted there, in fourth. On the Rivet Bangers fifth. Belgian Zwift. So this gives you a look then. Really, I wanted to make sure we got those top 5 teams, Nathan, out there at least to give us a little more context on what's happening as they get ready to complete lap number 1. Next up here is going to be the Tide Pool Sprint for this group.
Eric Schlange in chat. Good to see him. Letting us know. Thank you for broadcasting the races, boys. I'll consider updating my profile pic. Well, we got to take a look at that new Verge. He's got that new Verge kit going on anyway. So I don't know. Like we got to see what's going on here. You're not a logo. I don't. Well, maybe he is. Maybe Zwift Insider is a logo.
Did you? One of the posts I put up on Instagram recently, Nathan, was Kurt Beidler's bike in Metier, and I know that Eric Schlange has the exact same bike, and that was the number 1 post of all time that I put up. As far as I was really, really surprised by that. That says a lot for Pinarello and Zwift. That's for sure. Not much for me.
I forgot about Wachowski. Poor Wachowski off the front here. We totally forgot about him.
Man.
He just continued on. He just continued on, and we were like totally not paying attention. The ladies, we'll get back to them. They're going to go for their second time over Shisha in just a little bit. They are doing the corkscrew. The attacks are not getting away. So right now for the ladies, let's jump in with Wachowski's because he's really putting some work in.
This is huge. Let's investigate a little bit here, Nathan. So Witkowski now in our men's B race. I'm wondering where in the United States he is from, starting there. I'm going with Chicago just on a hunch, just on the last name.
That's like a name from Monsters Incorporated. Did you know that? See, I've watched so many kids.
Mike. Is it Mike Witkowski?
I'm watching you. I'm always watching Wachowski.
So, well, this has been a super effort, a wattage cottage, no doubt the dirt rider. That's Dad's Indoors Riding Trainers, the Hellhounds. He's on the top team as well. Oh, boy, that's testing my memory, but I believe the Hellhounds were on top of the table at 20 points after race number 1. I realized, Nathan, as we go into... Were they?
Yeah, they were. There you go, Dave.
Yeah, Dirty Beast.
That was like 5 minutes ago.
Yeah. But I mean, you get the feeling when we're in these 4-hour marathon broadcasts, you got to stay on top of your game.
Yeah.
And
or else it turns into a comedy show.
He's gone. I mean, this was when it's just the time that you reach.
I think it is over. I think it is over as far as anybody catching him. I think you're right.
What was the race we were doing recently? Where it was one of the women's events. It might have been Echelon Racing League, where a rider went clear, and it became pointless to try to chase her back. Oh, you know what it was? It was the Aeonian race last week, where they let one rider go clear. That was obviously not ideal, but for them to win the race, they ended up taking second, third, fourth, fifth, and eighth. And that is such a dominant performance that you have to be somewhat secure in your place in racing to say, we don't need that win. And I can't remember exactly who the woman was that took it, but she was a dominant force. So it would have taken a lot to chase her back. And I'd say the same thing with Witkowski now. They're looking at this and saying, okay, that ship has sailed. If he can do this for another lap, more power to him, to the Hellhound.
421 watts. This guy's nuts. Like, what is going on?
This guy's a machine. Look at the wattage he's still doing compared to what they're doing in the chase. He's never putting a number up that's lower than the riders who are leading that chase. He's going to end up lapping the peloton in a 2-lap race.
God. It's Wazowski. Thank you so much, Danny Enzo and Zwift Insider, for the correction. It's not Wachowski, it's Wazowski when it comes to Monsters Incorporated. I can't believe I got that wrong. I have seen that. That's the thing that's wrong. Of course it's good. It means they hung out with their kids on the couch so many times watching. Do you know why I know that? Look at this. Look, hold on a second. T. Chris, before we do all of this background on Monsters Incorporated, we got South Africa on the front here getting some FAL. Oh, he fades. Is he gonna? You gotta go to the line. Why would you stop pedaling? Oh no, Steven Titcat might have got that one. Oh.
Well. That now, here's the thing about this race. You're going to do that 8 times and have anything left for the finale? You've got to be kidding me. I mean, I'm going to guess the only reason he stopped pedaling is because his legs went into a vapor lock. Like I don't know,
he's got another kick. I think he thought he had it. Look. He goes again.
Do you think he was posting up?
It was a total post up. And I think Steven, did he get it? Did he? I think Steven got it there. I don't know, though, for sure. I'll take a look at the back end API. We can look at Zwift Power.
Yeah.
I can look at Zwift Power at least and figure it out. But, man, got to stick with it there.
Yeah, definitely keep on pedaling through the finish. That would be a coach's, on the first page of coach's advice, right? Don't sit up. Okay, so this is how the teams are standing.
We're jumping across
in the women's race. And they are 27.5K into a 36-kilometer race today. So out deep into the second lap now. And it was Level B's last week as we started the 6-race season 3 here. Level B's taking the top points with 20. It's linear, so the points stack up one at a time. Synergy Speed there in second. The Dragons for third. Swedish Swifters and then Team Castelli. Unlike Mondays where we do top 30, just wanted to give you a feel for the top 5 teams. We have so much to cover here. We'll see if anybody can upset the apple cart and climb up into that top 5, and they'll hear their name next week. Is that certainly Anna Hunger has been a noteworthy rider out here with some big efforts. We'll make sure that they were all on the up and up.
I like that, Dave. Here we go, though. Not Wazowski, but Wachowski on the men's side of things continues on, so we'll leave him for a moment. I just wanted to say quickly on that narrative, on that storyline, as he starts lap number 2, they continue to let him go after that sprint. It didn't bring back enough time for any kind of instigation, and he might just be gone for the day. It kind
of stabilized. Yeah, it seems like it's now at about 25 seconds there. So the fact that it didn't come back.
His teammate is chasing him.
Or actually bridging.
Oh, yeah, bridging. He jumps 7-8 watts per kilogram.
You don't, because that's such a no-no, right? I always want to be careful with that because, yeah, if he was leading the peloton, you'd be like, dude, get off the front, please. You're chasing your teammate back. But no, Squirrel knows what he's doing. He's now the second hellhound that's become this is turning into an absolute nightmare out here. They're like hellhounds left, right, and center. I feel like I'm in a horror movie. Hounds of the Baskerville.
I'm jumping across here. Pamela Levine making an early move. Nice one from I Race Like a Girl. Well-known race. She used to race in Vision back in the day, actually. Yeah. Here. She's going to get caught by Anna here, but we'll see. I'm just going to take a look at this here real quick. Yeah, it is sticking. It's definitely sticking here. So Levine's going to take second place across the line. We'll see how that ends up playing out with the race organizers. But I think Levine's really going to end up with first on that one. It's going to be Levine now backing off with Lenonian and Sisu on through. It's going to be Hornet for Level B's.
Oh, nice. All right. I love it. Look at the the Finnish flags moving forward here as Castilla as well, the Synergy rider getting up there. All right. This is going to be a dramatic moment here, Nathan. It's an OSS situation, folks. Only the strong survive through moments like this. There's a couple of splits happening back through that group. I think that's going to be welded back together. But these B women are now full gas here. This is a nice little descent. You want to use this speed, as Nathan's talked about a lot. See what they can do with it. We've got one rider dangling off the front.
Yeah, and it's all back together now. Nice move from Pamela Levine. I like it how she made that move early because Pamela, I think, not necessarily having the kick necessarily to take on some of the big sprinters here, but she knows what her abilities are, and because of that, used her talent correctly to grab those points.
Carolina looking really, really strong there. The Finnish rider. I love her aerodynamic setup there on her time trial bike. That's really professional. That's someone who's dedicated to their craft for sure. As we take a look at our B women and now, Nathan, coming up on, it's just inside of 6K to go now. The huge points waiting at the finish line oftentimes are the decision maker.
Dave, I got to ask, was there a party at your house just a second ago?
No, Oh, you know what that is? That is your music coming through my
I was like,
phone.
There was like a party all of a sudden. I was like, what's happening?
That's
that
the
was
show
great.
starts music.
It's the show starting. All right. Well, I guess we're starting a new show. Here we go. As the ladies are coming into the finish, all of a sudden there was like this party going on in the background. I was like, this is great.
You know I was
getting
trying
excited
to read
for the finish.
Comments. Yeah. Yeah. That's what I get for reading the comments. For sure. All right, back to the action, those are B women.
Section. I love it.
It is great to know that Danny Enzo even watches the show, to tell you the truth. I think he's one of those folks that has a massive following on Insta, for sure, and has really embraced Zwift racing.
He actually live streams on TikTok all of his races as well, and Twitch. So if you haven't checked him out, he live streams. One of his main. This guy gets like thousands upon thousands of live viewers sometimes over on his TikTok. So actually, where he started was on TikTok. He's moved over to Instagram a little bit more, but definitely the place to check out. I'm not sure what he's promoting nowadays, but very, very cool what he's been doing with his live streams.
Great attitude.
Yeah. Let's see
For
here.
sure.
We're coming into with the final Tide Pool sprint here in just a moment, Dave. And looks so Grupo Compacto. I thought Anna Hunger had gotten away, but maybe they brought her back into the fold.
All right. So that Tide Pool sprint finishes up at 33.5, and then they'll be on their way to the finish line. 35.9 is the total duration as we take a look at the peloton spread out across the road here. What is the feel, Nathan, when you're racing across this sector here? Is this somewhat like cobblestones?
Oh, this is regular road. It feels like regular road, actually. Road. Yeah. Right. So here's how you can tell in this world. It's very specific to this world. Well, not kind of like you because they have these different looking spaces. It looks. How do I say this? Look. It looks like the champagne like gravel. It looks like champagne gravel.
That's exactly what steamboat gravel is, right? Yeah, it's really packed down, almost like so many years of the vehicles and the grading.
Okay, so there's that look, right? So there's something else though that is absolute 100%. If there's dirt kicking up, if there's dust kicking up, then it's not champagne gravel. It doesn't act like road, and you're actually getting slowed down a little bit. It's not like paint fit. So if you see dust, you are on dirt.
No dust, not dirt. Then through that sector there, right?
I think we just saw a SC rider just have a dropout, which is really too bad to see. I'll go home now. Hopefully she's all right there, as we did see the SC rider with just 0 watts per kilogram. Hopefully she can finish. That's too bad to see.
All right, so we've got, looking here at the roadmap, 33.5. So they're 1K away from the next sprint. A good size group, and the way this is going, I might go against what I was saying earlier about there's really not many FTSs. Well, I'm going to stick with that. But this might be one of the times, Nathan, where you see an FTS being given out late in the race.
Maybe huge with the way it's been fairly calm. Yeah, not a bad
you might be able to surf through it.
Just want to highlight Wachowski is still off the front. They have brought it down to 13 seconds, though, and he might be fading a little bit. They're kind of letting him dangle out there. There's a lot of FL he's won so far.
So I have a feeling there wasn't enough gas in the tank to pull off a full tip-to-tail attack to the finish line. If it's come down to 13, that's not boding well. He still will have picked up a lion's share of points out there through the multiple banners that he would have gone under. But I don't know, Nathan. That doesn't sound great, does it, for Wachowski?
No, it doesn't. Now it's going back out again, but going to keep on coming back here little by little, it feels like, each sprint. And I think there's going to be a late attack from the main pack to bridge across. We'll see, though, how much distance he can get. If he can get it back over 30, I would start trusting it a little bit. It's going to be touch and go here at the back end for that race here. Back in with the ladies. Little bit of kick here. We're coming into the final couple K. There's going to be a sprint and then another sprint for the finish.
So exactly, and there's a little flashing marker on there it is right there. This starts the segment. Does it look like anyone's going for FTS, or are they sprinting for FAL? Well, there you go. I think we see a couple of riders who might be doing it, but this is going to score top 10. 10 down to 1 points. Look at the Avis Energy rider coming right up through the middle. That's going to be Dondoni, and Dondoni looks like she's done this perfectly. Now, that might be good for the double.
Wow. That was
back
really,
going to tell us.
Close.
I think Dondoni might have done something special there. The Synergy rider from the United States, phenomenal, picking her up well back into that group, Nathan. So she came from 20 spots back to either be first or second when they scored that sprint on placing. But as far as the time through that segment goes, she was lickety split.
Yeah, and it's 2K to the line from here about, Dave. A little over 2K. So this is the time to go if you want to counter. Everybody's heart rates are going to be really high. It's a good time to maybe make that counter. Otherwise, everyone's going to sit up and wait and watch for that punch into the dirt in just a moment here.
Kat Dondoni is the Synergy rider there, who should be awfully proud of her efforts. Dordoni. Yes, my bad. So yes, thanks, Nathan. Synergy rider there, though, looking really good. Watch out for her in the finish as well. That's for sure. It's an entirely different sprinter that roars at this point in the race versus early on, as you've now been through the ringer, right? The amount of time that you've had to flush lactic acid from your legs and try to reload for a sprint. This will be their 8th and final sprint coming up for our B women here.
Really
That's a lot
spread
of
across here now at this
36K.
point. They're all jostling just at this point, aren't they, Dave? It's just looking for position. Yeah. There may be an attack into the dirt, though. It is a place to go. We've seen it time and again. They might have a feather power-up to use here in just a moment. There's the dirt section we talk about. They're going to head into some of these bridges that give them a little bit of reprieve from the slowdown. Nobody going, though, Dave. It looks like nobody really wants to take a chance.
Well, there's so many points waiting at the finish. I guess it's a big gamble, to tell you the truth, that to go for it and miss, you'll fall back outside of the top 20 when you could count on getting a 7th, 8th, 9th. I don't know that that's worth it.
Yeah, and here we go. It's going...
Risk reward, right? Huge part of the sport. Boy, you do love a name like Jay Chase in this sport. So that's going to be Gordon up to the front, the Scottish rider up there, the American Chase, Healy, Level Velo's got a few riders, Swedish Swifters, well represented up here as well. All right, Nathan, we're locked and loaded. Looks like we've got a field sprint royale coming our way. Synergy going to attack up over the
here we go, up over the top of this. So this is with like 500 meters. There's still some time to go to the line here. A couple of turns. So this is an early move onto the uphill now. Yeah, and then we do see with that feather power, Horner's going to be able to go across. They got some distance now at this point.
She'll
but the
go over
continuance
the top.
has to be there. There has to be continuance. They cannot sit up at this point as Rave Firestarter now looks to try and come across. They got it here, though. If Horner continues, I have a feeling they might stick this away.
Boy, well, they're going to need to hit out with authority now. Horner opening up enough of an advantage. I really think it's her against the world at this point. So let's see if Horner can hold on. Julie is also going to be looking for it. Here comes Hunger now again. So Anna Hunger starting to close this one down.
Yeah, Hunger's going to go ahead and take that down, it looks like, easily, but Horner now going to be able to hold on. I'm not sure that Hunger's not going to get a DQ on this one, so I'm just going to leave that alone. But nice job to Hunger. If she does end up with that first, Horner fading, though. No, it's going to be Linonen from Sisu, the finish rider, able to take that. Nicely done.
What an effort there in the finish. That's the largest group that we've seen come to the line together as well for our women's bees out here. So a lot going on. Race 2 of the final season here in this block of 3, going back to McCurry Islands, where we'll be spawning some more fields. We've been racing, kind of going back and forth between men's and women's fields as we have been covering the bees exclusively today. It's been awesome, too, to tell you the truth. We've really made a big commitment to not just focusing on the A's, and it's more than just not focusing on the A's. We've been putting an equal focus, it feels like now, in all of the different categories and looking to highlight and meet riders in the A's, B's, C's, and D's, and it's really paid off. So let's take a look at our results now. As Anna Katrina Hunger is going to be on top of our leaderboard there. It's Carolina Leinonen in second on this top 10 at the finish line. Serena Vittori in for third. Elisa Healy fourth today. Savi Horner for fifth. Pamela Levine for sixth. It's Julia. Another brave race out there for a seventh place finisher. Lauren Barch in eighth today. Carolina Judikuich in ninth. And then Luis Deek rounds out our top 10. You can always go to WTRL.racing to find it. So he's still holding on out there, and it's still over 15 seconds here. So maybe I spoke too soon about him coming back.
Not bad. I mean, it's kind of just sat here at this, like, you know, it hasn't moved, has it, Dave? Just sitting right here.
He's actually starting to roll it out now. I mean, just in the last few minutes, he's put a couple seconds back onto his advantage here.
So it's so touch and go here. Can he do it?
Yeah, 10K. Well, let's call it 9K at this point. But here's the thing. He will have the Shisha, tide pool, and finish line. If he can make it to the Shisha sprint, Nathan, at 20, just inside of 30K, that might be job done there.
Look at this guy. He's got a Zwift shirt on.
He's got a cool kid.
Yeah. Well, I wonder, is it the kid that's riding or him? Or that guy in the right?
I hope it's, yeah. Look at the charge. So that's insane. So
I just got to say, we have one. It's a little complicated in the background. That's a reset. No, it's just been reset to now go and watch another race. So his tank is emptying as he pushes up and over the top of this right now. So as we watch somebody newly,
just sprung a hole in it and he's leaking oil and gas. That's not. So it's going to what the correct level would be. It's like we just turned on the gauge.
Yeah, essentially, yeah. I mean, his gauge is pretty much empty at this point, really. And,
you'd hope or think.
Yeah, as he continues on here, and the energy levels just start. Well, you know, maybe he energized a little bit, but it definitely wasn't full coming in
just
here. But Minto here for BL13 trying to match. They're actually unable to match him though. Maybe not unable, but they're not trying to match him at this point. He might hold on to all these FALs. This is a crazy ride from Wowski.
So one of the things that you've worked on hard behind the scenes to build up is showing us so many more of the riders and their icons. And outside of Eric Schlange, most people have been great about participating in that, haven't they? And I'm just kidding, Eric. We love you. But there's no doubt that when you see the picture of him, it makes you pull for him even harder. That's for sure. As he just looks like a cool guy to me, and I'm definitely wondering if he races in real life. I have a feeling he must.
I want to know where he got the Zwift shirt from. Like, what's that all about? Here we go. These ladies are about to take off. Just so everybody knows, this is going to be Zwift Racing League Women's as they take off. It says it on the thing. I'm just reading it off. EMEA Western 1Bs are taking off for the ladies. So we will be in with coverage for them. That's the left-hand side of the screen. They'll be hitting their boardwalk in just a moment as they take off. Wowski is going to take this one down. It looks like there'll be a sprint behind him in just a moment.
Wowski is an outstanding motocross racer from Indiana. But he's no joke when it comes to motocross. He competes at events like Supercross Anaheim in the 450 SX and the 250 SX, it looks like. So This
Wow.
is a guy. So there's no question that motocross riders are some of the fittest athletes on the planet. Just like you find out with Formula One guys, Nathan. It takes so much to do what they do, and a big part of that is you can't motocross your way through every day. You have to get fit on a bicycle, and that's or not. You don't have to get fit on a bicycle, but a bicycle is a great way to be fit. So there you go. No surprise there. Michael Witkowski's the real deal, folks.
Yeah, just coming on through, taking those FALs. Now Minto from BL13 trying to take this down. Makes the early jump, but it's going to be KST here from these B Riders with Anderson trying to hold on, but not going to be able to do it. Dirty Hellhounds. No, it's going to be Dragons actually with Hulzo for that second place. Dirty Hellhounds taking third across the line there for that next sprint. Now they're going to be ramping up into their final tides pool. And then the finish line for these men's B category. Today, so as they are going to calm right on down, they brought back some seconds. I have a feeling, can they carry some speed over the top here? They're going to have to get some motivation. Now, it is, well, Squirrel says, forget it, I'm out. He keeps on trying to go across. I like it.
Well, yeah, and he might as well. As long as he's not dragging that group up with him, he's free to do this. And these Hellhounds living up to their name, no doubt. So this, even though it reads different, Dirt HH for Witkowski and Squirrel, they're the same team, racing on different continents, but clearly same mindset. Super aggressive here, down to 6K to go for our leaders here. So the Hellhounds putting on a clinic and courage today in CRL. Going to jump back across now.
Ladies, Western, 1, B category.
Just getting going.
Going. Galaxy, Synergy, Bellavilo is here. Crush Pod is here. Be on the watch out with Graham. Crush Pod always danger women when it comes to the field. Definitely ones to watch out. But Feezy's going to go here from Synergy, it looks like, coming out of the UK. No, actually just finding her way to the front here. Frankie now, CP Word, Crush Pod Word. Always watch out for Crush Pod Word if they are in the race. Synergy now, Team NL now coming on through with Vasin. But Dave, is it going to be Bellavilo? No, it not. Right the line. Aeonian Corker almost took it, but I think Buckley may have held on there to the line. That was a nice little sprint, though, between them. We'll see if we can get a replay of that one. But like the way the ladies are kicking this one off from the get-go.
Yeah, so FTS, FAL both in play out here. When you look at that top 10, those are points in the bank for the first time. Out there is the FTS points. Oh, wait, so that definitely, I mean, obviously they'll go back and look at the FAL, but that is, I mean, it looks to me like the Bellavelo rider just in, well, no point in even calling it because it really is the API that'll tell you. So even if you think that you can tell that one rider's wheels in the front, they'll have to look at the exact data and analyze that.
Yeah, I think if you look at the rider list nearby, it's giving it to Buckley, it looks like to me. But we'll see.
Well, that's not the back end API though.
That is what takes. That is where it takes it from, and the fact that it has her there for that long, then it has her in first.
Oh, really? Okay.
It has. See, she's in first, and they're that far past the line. I mean, if the line might be the only other thing is the reason why a lot of times that it might be incorrect from what like we see is because the line isn't actually where it's supposed to be or something. That has happened in the past, but I don't think we have an issue with that in McCurry though. So it looked to me like Buckley there from the rider nearby list, but no, I might be totally incorrect about everything I just said, but I think that's how it works.
It's a shame we don't have points today to show you to keep
I wish
you
I
updated.
did. I wish I did.
Yep.
They're not. And actually, Martin, I actually messaged WTRL to find out if we could get something going on here, and nothing that he can really do about it. And also, so we'll see if things start updating for us as soon as we can. I am trying to update them. If they do update, I will get them here as quickly as we possibly can.
But so in the background, those points are all being tabulated. That would be scoring for the FAL, which is the first across the line, 10 places, and those points will be banked. The FTS, those most likely happen right there, and those points are a little bit different. They go from 20, so there's more FTS points, but you very well could be on top of the leaderboard. You actually can see a rider scoring twice in FTS. It's possible, Nathan. I don't know if it's ever happened, but that a rider, it probably has actually, that you could have a rider take first and second in FTS points if they had the fastest two rides. One time, first ride, or, doesn't matter which order.
Good call. Yeah, that's true. That is true. You could take it the first lap, and then you could take it the second lap by having just a slightly slower time.
And having the only faster time being yourself on lap number one.
Yeah,
right.
That's a good call. That's exactly what could happen. So, that's probably happened plenty of times, actually, with some riders. Dave,
there's a super strong rider, like a Gontova situation back in the day, right?
Gontova situation. That's such a good saying. That is such a good saying. So, quickly, we've got two breakaways happening here. Witkowski's still off the front. He's been off the front from the get-go. He's heading into his final tide pool. I think he's going to do it here. Smed's trying to go across, though, from KST, it looks like, to take some FAL, at least when it comes to the tide pool. I'm not sure he's going to actually be able to hang on all the way to the finish line. We'll see about that. But that's the current situation here in the men's race that we are currently on. Back over with the ladies, we do have an attack here from Team NL with Kreisel as they're heading toward their first time through Tide Pool in just a moment here.
All right, so taking a look, 17 seconds for the motocross superstar Witkowski, Michael Witkowski here. I don't think he's coming back. I think the real story is going to be what you've got on screen there, which is Smed, the KST rider. They look like they're the big challenge right now for the Hellhounds.
Bosch here is actually doing the sneaky wait for the pack and sprint with the pack. That's what he was doing there. He's actually, I think, a lap down and just looking for FTS. So, which is completely legal.
On a two-lap race.
That's a contentious. It's pretty contentious, but that's what he did.
Yeah.
That's exactly what he did. So
I have a hard time respecting that technique back in the hotel lobby. When you see all the riders back together. I'm sure that they'd
They're definitely got opinions about it. There's definitely all kinds of opinions about it. It's legal, though. It's a part of the game. It's legal, then
fair play. That's
fair play.
But I think sometimes we should rewrite some of these laws. But anyways.
Here, Team NL coming on through for first for FAL. That one wasn't super challenged, actually, interesting enough. I didn't see a very, very strung out line there. McGovern now to the front for these ladies as Kressels now goes back to the pack. Nice job for her to get those FAL points. It's going to be a little while before they hit their first Shisha sprint, so I'm going to head back on over to the men, and we're going to be with Witkowski as he's going to win this one outright.
Yeah, this is I'd say the ride of the day, to tell you the truth. We haven't seen anybody pull this off. We've seen some brave performances, but Michael Witkowski out of Indiana here. And let's see how the Hellhounds are doing behind him.
You figured out that he's actually coming out of Indiana, eh? Nice.
I'm all over it. The pride of Indiana, Witkowski here is gone. It's over 20 seconds now. At one point, I did think he was going back to the group when it came down to 12 seconds there, but he continued to roll it and seemed to know what he was doing. So command performance, actually a master class out here. Now it's going to come down to his teammates, Nathan. It looks like Talent Fry. Excuse me. I thought I saw one of his teammates jumping up, and there is going to be Snowy there. The winner yesterday is back. The South African.
Really?
Yeah, Snowy's starting to come forward here, up into the top 10 now. Actually moving up. He could win the sprint. Snowy's now moving up into contention. This is our leader. Behind him, though, there's a sprint developing. It's way back. I mean, we're talking about 25 seconds back right now, but there it is.
Yeah, this is TRH. That is Team Rheinhessen Berserker, I believe. No, there's so many different. There's a lot of different.
Of course, it is
here. Something like that. Hellhounds now. Our book here trying to go across. It looks like now he's not going to impact Witkowski. Witkowski's going to win this outright, so he can make this chase now at this point and even lead things out if he needs to. Because at 20 seconds, that's not going to come down quick enough. As our man here taking it down. Yeah. So there it is. The win goes to Witkowski, but we've got a sprint developing behind. Here comes Squirrel now. Nice kick there from Squirrel. Big
They're going to
move.
crush today. Yeah,
Woo.
that was a setup for the second win. So they're having their cake, they're eating it too, and now they're tucking into your cake. As that is a 1-2, and it looks like they might put a
Whoa.
6 or 7
What?
as well.
They take third as well, Dave.
My
With Manta.
goodness.
The Hellhounds coming out of France. What is going on here?
Haven't seen a team dominate in ZRO like that's Aeonian level domination, Nathan. Wow, Hellhounds. I'm terrified of these guys now.
Aeonian might be offended. Wait a second. Well,
I said that Aeonian's the standard that they were trying to meet, right?
Yeah. Gotcha. All right, so here we go. Back in with the ladies. We'll take a look at that results here. What is going on? That looks like there's like. Do you see this? Oh, that's too bad. That's too bad. There it is. What is going on there?
Leg. This has been going on all day.
Wait a second.
I'm surprised you haven't seen this.
No, I haven't. I've missed it.
Oh yeah.
What?
It was weirding me out, to be honest.
Okay.
Just a little glitch.
I've never seen that. Now, it only happens when you're at this certain angle, it looks like. If I go far enough in, it's not there. If I go far enough out, bam, they lose a leg.
Just strange, yeah. It's a first, though. Yeah. All right. We're taking a look at our front group here as they're coming up on 8K in. We still
Boardwalk is coming right now. This is actually a move that was made for the Boardwalk. That's what they were doing. And you can see here. Oh, sorry. No. I thought they were going into Boardwalk.
After.
That's actually after. They're going into Shisha after the corkscrew climb. There we go.
Right.
Thank you so much, Dave. As you got this little bit of a punch in front of them. They were trying to make a move into the bottom of the climb, perhaps, with get a little bit of distance and go for those FAL. We've got another move over the top. It's going to be Chrysler's again. No, it's going to be and Blue, actually, from level Bs.
All right. So this is going to be a little bit of a regrouping here. Again, next points available for these guys. They're going to be doing the climb to Shisha and then Shisha sprint and FTS. That goes from 10.4 to 10.7K in here. So little while, it's a bit of a rugged sprint after you've done that climb to get up to Shisha. Any idea, Nathan? I'll put you on the spot here. What does Shisha refer to? It sounds like a type of dog to me.
That's a good question. Yeah.
That's not a horrible guess, but it's not right.
Dragons. It has something to do with the dragons up there.
With dragons, huh?
I don't know.
This is what they built that Google for.
I should know.
Huh. Interesting that it comes up as something that wouldn't be a great topic for us here. Not horrible, I shouldn't bury the lead, but like tobacco stuff, which wouldn't make any sense for us. We're not into smoking here.
You've been noticing this all. This is like, I can't get over this leg thing now. Like, this has been going on all day, and I didn't even notice it.
I'm focused on tobacco, and you're looking at weird legs. So
this is how it always goes in the NBA. It falls apart later in the day. We start really getting into like the back end of this. Bockhorse, though, Synergy, she's making everybody else fall apart, it looks like, is Allie from Bristol, Jackson from S4W Sox for Watts. Good to see them back. Franken trying to come across from Crush Pod. Is the timing there, though, Dave? They still got this entire 180 degrees. As you can see here, look at this. This up on the mini map, Dave. There's plenty of landscape still to work with on this sprint as CP look to come across. Lots of riders looking to get involved in this move.
Wow, and look what it's doing. It's not only stringing out this group, it's going to devastate this peloton here as our women's EMEA Western 1 out here on Island Hopper. This has absolutely gone. Look at that, Nathan. It looks like a Grand Fondo right now.
Three up that are making this happen. Really the ones that are putting the pressure on.
Does that regroup as any kind of peloton, or is that 3 or 4 different groups when the dust settles out here? I can't see one peloton coming back together.
It's going to be tough. The way that the riders behind might be
You
thinking about
never
the
know.
sprint, though, might cause a lot of time come back here. These three going up are using a ton of energy for the FAL. They're not going to have a lot over the top, I think, and you're going to have a lot of kicks coming out of that main group in quotes. The way that it is.
My thought here is that, it looks like it's going to split this group at least in half, though. Wow. So this is just the climb to Shisha that we're talking about. These three, this is really, really interesting. Actually, we haven't really seen this play out quite like this one here yet today. 36K of racing, 2 laps out here on the Island Hopper, McCurry Island's classic course. This takes in just about everything you've got in McCurry.
I like the way that Helen Jackson has ridden this to this point. Been really smart, actually, so far. We have reloaded the energy bar, but it should come down pretty quick here if she does sprint, though, in just a second. Sox Watts looking to try and take this down as she leads out Allie in just a second here. Will Allie be able to come over the top? I think Jackson's got plenty in the... not about plenty, but enough in the tank, perhaps, to hold this off. Oh, no, here we go. Allie for Bristol now up and over the top. It looks like it was only going to be a lead out, actually. Wow, Bockhorst almost, but not able to do it there. Now behind, though, another sprint
does this
happening.
turn in?
Escort now coming across.
Look how she's continuing, talking about Escort here now. She's racing to the front. This could be a 5-rider breakaway here that we're looking at. I'm wondering what's going to happen with Gina right behind Escort here, but interesting moment about a third of the way into the race. And I think it might be Escort is going to be the sole survivor out here as far as getting up into that breakaway. That's Gina, the rider sitting 5th wheel on course, but Gina's going back to the peloton now as they're starting to ramp things up. This was about to get out of hand. That was a huge group earlier, Nathan. It's down to less than 20 riders. See if a few more can rejoin here, but that was a dramatic turn of events here on the Shisha climb through Shisha sprint, heading us now over to Tide Pole sprint for the first time. That comes up relatively quickly here. About 4K from now, we'll be in the thick of it. Okay, those 3 up the front. Was it 3 or was it 2 now? As they might have been attacking each other here, where you take the camera off them for just a moment and go back and look at chase number 1. This is chase 2 with Catherine D trying to get back into the first chase happening out there now. So, wow, action all over the shop.
She's over at the, looks like she's taking on the Glibier. Good to see. Love the pictures that we get to see from in real life from these riders as Catherine looks to come across.
Yeah, from memory, the altitude there's about 2,642 meters. It's quite a climb.
Right behind her, Dave. Oh my, nice. You are such a punk. Oh my god. From memory, yeah. Oh my gosh. Let's look forward and see if let's go ahead and see if there's anyone
Trying
still
to make
up
you
ahead.
laugh, Nathan.
I think
just trying to,
yeah, you got it. You got me there. You got me there. I almost was caught out on that one here. It looks like
you're looking at other things too.
I was.
You put that picture up.
Something else. I was. Bokhorst here now was caught. So Dave, this was what I was thinking about. Was that like some of these riders are sitting in and thinking about the sprint in a different way than those FAL riders are, and they've still got a punch. And that there were enough of them that had a punch, and that's why it came back together. Now, if it would have it got whittled down enough, though, that it was on that edge that it might not have. But at this point, they haven't caught. But we might see that all happen again, because this is whittled down to where it's going to turn into a different kind of race now, because there isn't the numbers any longer.
Yeah, that is a huge element. And also, I would say, as we take a look at Ivanka Bockhorst, who looks like she shows up to take care of business, right? And I have a feeling that the strength that you saw from those 3 riders on Shisha Climb really was definitive. And even though we're going to see a little bit of back and forth out here, watch out for those 3 when this is all done and dusted today.
100%. I think that's a good call there. Watch out. Those 3, they're going to be dangerous out here. Now, there is a final race that we will be covering. Everybody, do not worry. as promised and as is scheduled over on ZwiftPower.com. The men's B category is
Just out
taking
on course.
off. Yep, just now. And this is going to be the final coverage. The 1:30 p.m. EMEA W North is what is happening as they jump out on course and do their first Broadway. There is plenty of very familiar names, actually. I saw Nick Nellis from TFC up in here. I see a PTZ. We've got Team NL. The Rhinos are here. Sisu. It's a good way to kick off the final race. We have to kick off, but end the EMEA with a lot of familiar names, familiar teams. Tugas is here as well. SDRT. We'll get their current standings up in just a moment, but this is going to be a good one, I think.
Great. All right. So we do have a little more coverage coming up at the end of the day as well, as we get to jump in with our Americas, the North American coverage. Also, well, we have a moment to catch our breath here. Nathan, really excited to see you hard at work behind the scenes, adding the Canadian Nationals coming up. The next couple Sundays, we'll have racing that you can always find at Zwift Community Live, but that should be really exciting. Canada against the world. I'm excited for that format.
Yeah, this Sunday, everybody, we will have coverage of that Canada versus the world. So you can jump in. You may not be able to race the Canadian Nationals unless you're from Canada. But if you do want to race against a lot of the riders that are going to be a part of that, go ahead and jump on in to Canada versus the world this coming Sunday. Canadian National Championships here on Zwift Community Live. Everybody, make sure to follow along for the next week or two, because we are all about it for the next week or two. So heading into that, it's going to be really exciting.
After the tremendous success that we had with the USA National Championship, one of the most highly lauded broadcast that we've done. That was so much fun. So looking forward to that. Look at this action hotting up. So 2 laps out here, but really this boardwalk sprint, this one's got to hurt, Nathan. It's like doing a neutral drop with your body as they're just about to the first FAL, deep into the FTS, fastest through segment. Let's see if Barry's going to pull off both. The Wahoo does come across line first. That'll be good for 10 points, maybe 30 points. I don't know where he started in that surge, but that's a nice way to open your account here today.
Yeah, well played there from WLC. They're going to have a little bit to go before the next sprint, so that's the opening up for our first kick there for that B men. Now back in with the ladies as they head on over to finish up their first lap across Tidepool, Dave. And it's interesting that the way that these races are being played out, there's a lot of calm in between these, isn't there, Dave?
Absolutely. It's that on again, off again, the ebb and the flow. And this one, 15.7. So they're 500 meters from those points. They'll be into the fastest through segment. This is one of those fastest through segments. Looking at this group right now, Nathan, where you have to think that those points are going to be distributed this time through, or a majority of those points. There's your power-ups today. I know we're a few hours into the broadcast. We haven't mentioned for a little while. It's Arrow, Feather, and Draft, the big 3, the 03. And here you go, Bockhorst on it. And she's got some challenges.
Ooh, little Gina, Jacques. Gina's going to take it. Team NL.
Wow,
nice
Gina.
one there from Gina.
And Fuego. The Team NL rider, the Nederlander, like a bomb there on the front. Look for the counterattack, Nathan.
Is that
Don't
actually
see
going?
this often.
1.7 though. I think that's a roll through speed.
It is.
I mean, yeah.
I thought
Okay.
for a second that she was going with
the
this.
speed was there. It could have, but I think she
Yeah.
just doesn't have the power in the legs at 189 beats per minute. I mean, it's tough.
That's a tough time to attack when your heart is in your throat, right?
Whew.
So taking a look now at this general regrouping. This after the sprint, we have actually seen less of this than normal, where the group almost throws up the white flag for a moment. It says after a sprint like that, I think everybody's going to look to flush the legs a little bit. And that's a look at the front group now. Lap 1 done, heading out for their second ronde here on the Island Hopper today. This is a great tour of McCurry, that's for sure. Don't really miss much.
Now they take a left-hand turn in just a moment onto some dirt, and then it will be back over toward their boardwalk sprint in just a moment. And the men about to take on their first tide pool in just a moment here, as they are on the right-hand side. We have a little bit of a push here from ATGNI. as 5:34 in, 3.8 kilometers, and onto the dirt. This is a time to make moves, Dave. I've seen huge gaps open up on dirt. Actually, this past weekend in this exact section, actually, we were doing the Kiss 100 on a little bit different race course, and there was like a 10-second gap that opened up so quickly through here and through the tide pool actually section. So definitely have to watch out for moves here.
Shisha, let's go with Serpentine Demigod. Actually, even though the spelling is a little bit different, I think that's the intended.
Is Chad
meaning.
helping you out with that, or what's going on here?
Chad is going off on this.
Christoph von Bagel, I see. I'm seeing here. That's not a real Christoph von Bagel, and his profile picture is
the
a
line
bagel,
between
right?
real and illusion is blurred at this point, Nathan, especially here. So that very well could be a real name.
I mean, we're losing legs. I mean, I don't even know.
Yeah.
Now this Zwift doesn't have it. The men are not losing legs. You see this? They're
So
only
far,
getting
so
that
good.
black. They're getting the black on the kits on the back here, but they're not losing legs. So at least they've got all their legs intact.
All right. Our team of engineers hard at work behind the scenes, making sure that everyone has their legs.
Ramping things up. It's going to be Rex. 7.0 TFC on the front.
So let's talk
Leading it out.
these guys now, right, Nathan? They're just about to go into the tide pool sprint here. As a matter of fact, they're into the timed sector now. There's the little flashing lights on the ground. And let's see what Rex can pull off. Well, it doesn't look like he's going to get the FTS at this point as they come rolling through.
No, he's not. It's going to be Strubeg from ATG&I. He sat up, but it doesn't matter. Takes it down. James there, I think, or a Rhino it might have been. Will Miller might have done it from the Rhinos there. Nicely done there from Strubig. Taking that FAL across the line, maybe some FTS with how far back. You can really ramp up for FTS on this tide pool. Be on the watch out twice every lap with that kind of downhillish nature to it after you do hit that green. If you go from back to front, you can double up on this one.
That's some Zwift craft from our man Nathan. As I wonder what is going on behind our riders there up in those giant. Actually, you can almost see it over the water there.
Oh,
Haven't really.
The giant,
those things.
Those are the
statues.
Shisha. Those are the Shisha.
Those are the Shisha.
Yeah, those are
there
the Shisha. Yeah, that's why I was saying dragons, because those are the Shisha, and that's where you climb up to them.
And so that's solved that then.
So here, this guy's got I'm trying to focus in on this helmet here, okay? Like, look at that. This guy's got a helmet. But it's a ZRL helmet. That's why
I was just going to say, that isn't a ZRL. Have they changed through the years, or
no?
is it
They're
always
the same. They're the same.
Okay.
Wow, they should change, shouldn't they? They like every season should be a little bit different. Like this is season 2, season 1.
Right, exactly. And then if you have multiple seasons, like they put the screws on a helmet or a Wolverine player helmet,
you should have like ZRL kit though, where it'd be a helmet, a gloves. Like, what if you could kit the whole thing out? It would be like gold tier. It would be like legendary tier kit because you got like 4 seasons and you got all the pieces. That would be amazing.
And you could get a bike like Adam Blythe from GCN, who's got that all gold bike. If you're the winningest rider in ZRL history, or the most points in ZRL history. Here's a name an American cycling fan should know, although he's from Portugal, but Jennifer Valente, our Olympic gold medalist from Tokyo 21. But in this case, it's the Portuguese Valente putting the hurt on him right now here on the front of the group. Is these guys 7K in, so they got 29K to go. Much different story over here for the women as they're out on lap number 2. This is the front group, and it's a good-sized front group now. A little bit of a separation there of the wheat from the chaff.
Yeah, and we're about to open up for their second boardwalk sprint. So on this camera, we do lose legs, but I think we're going to keep them intact here for the sprint, perhaps, as we set things up close cam. It's going to be Shamber here from Level, opening it up with the Arrow power-up. Interesting that she goes right from the front. That's brave to be doing, but it's going to be CP, Crush Pod, going 1-2, 1-2, 1-2, maybe. Aeonian trying to come on through. He's got the Arrow power-up. It's going to be McGovern. McGovern up and over the top, but Team NL right at the line. Maybe. I think Gina did it again, Dave.
Wow, she is on fire out here.
Her timing.
This is a real
Seriously.
Yeah, and that's Swiftcraft, to be honest. I mean, just knowing exactly where to be.
Where is she? Watch.
She's got the.
Where is she even? Is she? Look, where is she?
She's not even on screen.
Are you kidding me? She's literally not even on screen. And then there she is, coming from behind. They're 9.4, big kick. Now she's in screen. It's actually a drafting power-up. It's a drafting power-up that gets it for her too, Dave. Look at that.
She's the only, well, there's one of, but no, she locks in at 150 meters, and that is impressive. That's a closer right there.
She might have gotten it, maybe. See, I don't know. That one's close. I don't know. That one's really close, but that's at least second or third. I just where she came from for that. And also it might be FTS too. That's the other big point that I want to make, is that might have been a big FTS game because she went from so far back.
To be. So even if it's not the total, you get 20 for FTS, 10 for FAL. She might have scored 27 points there. That's huge, right? I mean, it's so rare you see someone put a 30 up on the board, meaning that you won the sprint and the FTS. We talked about why that's so hard. It is doable, but Rose McGovern crushing it there for Aeonian. This is a squad that will be represented most likely in all of our categories today, as far as A's, B's, C's, and D's. Aeonian is a super team, and there is Rose. Wow. Definitive sprint there. She's certainly going to be a rider to watch throughout the rest of this event. If she's sprinting that well, 20K in, she'll be there for the finale.
Yeah, she's sprinting really well there, actually. So
Brody has a good comment asking for a little bit of respect.
That would be great. Oh, I love this. Can I got to see if we can find Brody. This is such a fun group that we're hanging out with. And
this is a sweet spot for sure.
Really.
Yeah. The support these women have, sense of humor, but they take it seriously. There's a lot of pride in this group and their personal performance, but also this is the thing that, you've heard women talk about a lot is, lifting each other up. And we see that at the highest level with the women racing on Zwift. And I mean, it goes across A's, B's, C's, and D's. I don't know that one stands out any more than the other, Nathan, but it is really, really strong here. Community support. It's uplifting.
It is. Jumping in with Brody there. She's a part of a chase group. They could make, I mean, Crestles is a strong rider at the front.
See what she's got in her jersey there.
Yeah. I do see
that she must have won.
Brody
that
likes to have fun. Brody likes
to
have fun. That's for sure. It looks like Feezy to the.
It's interesting.
Here.
She's from
they
Spain,
got him in
but
sight. They got him in sight, Dave. This is what I'm saying. Chrysals.
It's a bit of a climb, so that's a kind of a little bit of an illusion that they're right there, because you're going at 25 or 26 kilometers per hour right now. So you're not moving as fast. Yeah. I guess I should, depending on your perspective, right? They've got them right there. Or if you're in the front group, we've still got them. So.
Yeah. True. Very true. It's a good point. It's a good point. As 13 seconds, Chrysals continues to press the pace. It's a tough one to bring back here, but she's strong. I do know Chrysals from TNL. She was on that break early, and this is a rider who had broken away earlier, Dave, to grab big FAL points. So maybe just getting some energy back in the legs, finding her rhythm back into this race, back down to 12 seconds, now down to 11. Gina her teammates just sitting at the back. She's not going to do any work.
I was just going to say, just because you're in the front group doesn't mean you want that front group to stay away from the second group. There's plenty of riders who would love to have these merged together. So it all depends on your team's current situation, right? So, I don't want to imply that front groups are always trying to hold off second groups. That's not the case at all. Or it's not every rider in that group sharing the same desire. is the best way to put it. There are some riders in this group that don't necessarily think it's great for their team to catch, so they don't do the work chasing. There's teams up in the front group that definitely don't want to see sprinters here come back and take points, so they'll try to hold them off. This is the give and the take. This is the battle royale. That's why this is the greatest sport in the world, because you're coming at it from so many different perspectives, individual desires, team desires. It always creates just such a great template to work with. Nathan, here we go. All right, let's see what we've got here. Is it looks like the men are
for the men? For the men,
yep.
Yeah, we're jumping in real quickly to catch them as we want to jump back in with the Lay's tide pool, but they're both taking on a sprint at the exact same time. But it's gonna be the Rhinos here with Yarwood, Will Miller there as well. Nice little kick, but I think I think the Rhinos just able to pull that off. Back on over to the ladies here. We want to make sure we're catching all of this action here, and it is going to be Chamber that made a big jump here from level, trying to hold off for those FAL. It's Sox for Watts. Jackson now making a move. Will she hang on to the line? Is it going to be Gina again? Gina, time after time, big sprints coming in from her.
I mean, she is the woman who's met the moment, Nathan. The absolute superstar that we're witnessing there in our Women's B event. They're down to 12.5 kilometers of racing remaining. Next up now, as it looks like they are going to regroup out there. So out on lap number 2, what they've got to look forward to after the climb is Shisha for the second time.
Yeah, so they're going to take this left-hand turn. Now, this is exactly what they're going to see when they come around again for the finish line. Now, the difference here, everybody, they'll take this left-hand turn and they'll go left into the corkscrew climb on the dirt and then off into the Shisha climb. The next time around, or whenever they do a lap, they take a right-hand turn and either take the lap or the finish line. So that's the situation here. Left-hand turn now, then on into the corkscrew for the ladies. So that is the situation. Let me see if go ahead, Dave.
Shisha next for them. The guys then should be pretty quickly coming up on Shisha themselves, or actually, will they be looking at Tide?
They just took it on, and they'll be doing Tide Pool for their second time around, I believe. Those guys, so I like it that you pointed out those Shisha in the background, because now I always want to look at those gigantic. They're huge. They are huge,
massive. Think about if you think making a pyramid was hard, try making a Shisha. So I am now realizing what happened as well, because I really appreciate Cy Bradley, and he does a lot of work there and creates some documents that you can use, which, to be fair, I use, create a template to be able to look at where the sprints are. He spells Shisha with an I with his level velo work, and it's fair to shout him out. That guy does so much good work. But Shisha is spelled with an E in the temple. Like, those guys are SHESHA versus I. So when I Googled it, that's why I got the wrong one, which Danny Enzo was 100% correct about. Crush Pod Word on top of the table, 20 points. Team NL, these are the Nederlanders, the Lionhearted, with 19 points. Aeonian Banditas in third with 18. It's going to be Herd of Little Penguins. Then Synergy Smash. That's our top 5. Roca Corva right there. Sox for Watts. They want to be in the conversation. Level Hornets, Bello Velo, and Galaxy Zenith. That's where it stands, but things should be changing not should be. There's potential for a lot of change here. We're only one race into a 6-race season.
You know, what's interesting is those points might be updating actually live on this. I'm just realizing they may be updating.
It couldn't be updating their league points, which is what I was talking about.
No, but I'm talking about FAL and those FTS. Those are updating live, I believe, actually. So at least we're getting some live data coming on through. Our other preem boards aren't necessarily working, but we are seeing something here, and I think Crush Pod Word perhaps are still in the lead if those are live here at this point. So we'll keep eyes on that. I don't want to say anything definitively, but I think those may be.
It's funny. They used to have a saying in the bike shop, he knows just about wheel building to be dangerous, right? I know just about those points to be dangerous.
I know just enough about those points to be dangerous. Exactly.
Yeah.
That's exactly what's going on, actually. A little bit of a move as they head toward that climb. I like it. This is if you can get distance going into the climb and make them work a little bit. You know, there is a reality of raising heart rates prior to the climb to try and make it so that it can hurt that much more.
Absolutely. And that's a name that oftentimes top climbers will use teammates to do that for them. Look, this is going to come back together, but that's an astute point, Nathan, as they're down to 10K of racing. Next up, again, this is our women's bees that we're looking at as they're out here on lap number 2. They've got another climb to Shisha to look, well, that's not much fun, not something to look forward to, but Shisha sprint, next points opportunity for them as the guys are coming up on completing lap number 1. And is it Bond off the front? Yes, it is.
It's a good move from Bond, too. Like what he's up to
4-second gap.
Yeah, and this is
10
going
points
into Tide
waiting
Pool,
at the
I
line.
believe. Is that right? So
Yep.
if he's going into Tide Pool.
Actually,
Or is he going into Shisha?
Nathan, thank you. Correct.
Yeah, okay.
No, coming into Tide Pool, that finishes at 15.7, so he's about 800 meters from that finish. These are the points as they stand for the gentlemen, or the open category that we've got racing right now with TFC. That's the Friday criterium. Bugatti. That's an expensive car right there on top of the table. Wahoo Gold Bandits for second right now. That's points after race 1 is what we're talking about. This one isn't updating the same way either as what you saw.
It might
on
be a
that
little bit of
previous
time
table,
though
so-
too. Sometimes it takes a little bit of time. If I push the number 1, sometimes it does something, but it didn't do anything.
That sounds like my Atari. By the way, if you notice the name of the third place team there, the Cannibals, that is ominous. So, all right, here we go. The Dutch Cannibals. This is Bond, our leader. He's going to make it, Nathan. I think he's got the 10 points.
Yeah. That's right there.
Yep.
It's right there. So nicely done. Rex tried to do something similar, but I think Rex is getting caught. Rex don't care, I heard, but the pack's coming strong. It's going to be Swart. Whoa, that's a close one. But I think Barry from WLC just nipped him at the line. Woo!
Okay. Well, now next points at the finish line. Good catch on that one, Nathan. I apologize. Tide Pool sprint, they're done and dusted. We'll tally those points. Guy's going to be heading out to complete lap number 1. It doesn't look like a counterattack coming. Everyone's going to play it cool for now, as it's 8 sprints throughout 36K of racing. That's a lot of sprinting, Nathan, if you run the numbers there.
I'm wondering
Sprinting
how I'm gonna
every
take this on
4K.
tonight. Like, I'm really I didn't ride for the last 2 days, and then I rode this morning, and I was like, where are my legs? Oh my goodness. So
at least you've got both of them.
yeah, the ladies, they're struggling with one. They're having to sprint with one. How is Gina having such a good day? Sheesh. Let's jump back over because there's some attacks going on actually as they make their way onto the Shisha sprint. Actually, it's going to be. We saw this last time around. It is going to be Bockhorst from the Synergy team on the attack. Bristol's there as well. That's going to be. Are they teammates? No, it's going to be. She sucks for Watts actually. Jackson Bristol's actually coming. Or the team Bristol I think. Or no, is that Rave? Rave. That's going to be a Rave team. Okay. Roca Corber's here now, coming across with Magnet. It's going to be Kirkhoff. Gina's still there. Sharp. Frankie from CP Ward. It's going to be Escort there, just a little ways back. Oh, they're struggling, Dave.
This is going to split up. This is definitely the moment here, late in the race for our B women. And we might see this come down to a group of less than 15 here. Yikes. They are real. Look at the wattage numbers. Those are big numbers over there as impact felt all the way through the peloton. You got to really show your grinta now.
Do you see the penguin? The herd of little penguins. She's got a penguin next to her name. I absolutely love that she has that emoji.
Yeah.
You have to be a herd of little penguins.
Cool.
You gotta
she looks like she's hanging out like in the Falkland Islands or something where there could even be penguins at times.
Huh. That's a good call, actually.
Who knows? That
from
was
the
just
UK.
a guess,
She's from the UK. I mean.
All right, well, back to the action now as these climbs hurt. 5% grade, Nathan, when they're pressing like this, that's why you see these splits. That's Helen Jackson that we're looking at now, the Sox for Watts rider. She's really having a great moment here late in the race. We've seen Helen all over the front today, Nathan. As a matter of fact, I was wondering what that mascot was that was putting her up on the podium. The blue, looks like a bear, maybe? Or beaver.
It's a bear. It's maybe a bear.
Well, no tail, right. So, muskrat or something.
Jackson with the arrow power up. She's getting a podium in game now.
Squirrel. Yeah. All right. So let's see what
enough is enough with Gina. She was like, Gina's just taking on too many of these. She's tired of Team NL. She's like, no more. This is about the Sox for Watts race now at this point. Gina does come on through, though, for second. Allie there. Bristol now, but I think it's actually Rave. I think she's actually a part of a raving party, but
look at that albatross right above our riders there. That's quite a wingspan.
Yeah, it was almost like it attacked them.
I've never seen an albatross come that close to. I assume it's an albatross, but not a bad guess. Out here on McCurry today. If that's a seagull, it's not missing many meals.
There's so much to discover in Yorikazi, everyone. Absolutely.
Yeah,
Allie Bristol, look at Bristol saying go. She is saying we are going, push the pace.
Well, here's your top 4 spots at the finish line if they can hold on. Now, next up for them is going to be Shisha Sprint here, not far off at all, then Tide Pool, then the finish line. I wouldn't be too surprised if these 4 monsters do stay away, representing 4 different teams. This looks pretty good.
Yeah, they got 3 seconds now at this point, but Bulk Horse does not want to see it happen here, and they're trying to get the better of Synergy. That is what is going on here. They are trying to break Synergy. Synergy currently sitting in 5th place now at this point. It's going to be Herd of Little Penguins in 4th, Alien Banditas in 3rd, Crush Pod, Team NL, there's the top there. So, no, they're not represented at the front here. So, Synergy are trying to bring this back. Bulk Horse now pushing on to bring this back as best they can. Who's all here, though? Bulk Horse is the only one left from Synergy,
She's the only Synergy right. Wow. That's a surprise, to tell you the truth. I mean, even if she gets up there, she's now bringing 2 Crush Pods, 1 Roka. Yeah, wow. Really interesting dynamics here for the finale. Inside of 6K to go. Make it 5.5K of racing remaining now.
Oh, nice little kick from Bulk Horse. She's
Bulk Horse would be so much better off to join in. What she's doing right now makes a ton of sense, is getting up there by herself. Although I think maybe, unfortunately, she's going to make this huge effort, and then the group behind her is going to rejoin, right, which negates that charge there. Although I think it's kind of 6 of one, half a dozen of the other for Bulk Horse right now, as whether they join or not. Tough position to be in with just no teammates around. I'm amazed, to tell you the truth, that's the situation. I wonder what happened at the start for them today, Nathan, if they had a full contingent able to start, if there was something going on with that squad, because that just doesn't quite stack up.
Yeah, I think Synergy perhaps have a few riders that just didn't make the group actually up front, because we do know that Brody's behind. So, there are a few Synergy riders here in this chase group. A little ways back, I
Chase
believe.
2 has.
Yeah, Brody's here from Level. We've got Shamber from Level. It looks like. Who else is here from Level? Looking through. We've got Schilder here as well in like Chase 5 or so, 4 or 5. Easy. So definitely plenty going on there. Dave, I think we just had a sprint come on through for the men. I'm going to see if I can find that for everybody here real quick. It was a really good one, actually. They opened it up very, very early with Bond and the rest of WLC making some good moves on it. So we'll jump across with that in just a second. For the ladies here at this point, they're coming in, as you said, into their final couple of K here in just a moment. Bulk Horse is definitely been on the aggression to make sure that it sticks together as they come into these final K. Tide Pool sprint in just a moment.
Yeah. All right, so this is the last sprint. Well, the tide pool sprint coming up for the ladies here. There's also obviously an FTS that goes along with that. And they are just a few hundred meters from entering that segment now. Got to be feeling pretty rugged.
And so now we got Emmanuel here from Team NL. Bond. This was just a moment ago in the men's side of things, coming on to their second time through Boardwalk. That early move from Bond was trying to get away from the FL, unable to happen. Will Miller there, Rhinos now able to maybe just hang on to the line barrier there. Now Struberg able to come through. No, I think Will Miller from the Rhino able to hold on.
Miller.
Nicely done.
All right. Well, mark at 10 for Miller, it looks like there. We'll give the rest of the points out and distribute them amongst the top 10 at that sprint. Women, here we go. So they now are into the timed sector.
32.4, about to hit the tide pool in just a second.
Pool.
And then immediately, that's the thing about this, Dave, that you got to kind of make a decision. Like, I am not looking forward to the decision making here about what do I do? Do I save up for the sprint through tide pool? Do I go immediately after tide pool? Like, there's a lot of points on the line for the win, right? But you also have back-to-back points. I mean, the timing for them.
Yeah, when you're developing your tactics and strategy, this is the one day this season where you have so many fun decisions to make with the racing, which is a big, big element that makes this not just an exercise contest. And here we go. All kicks off here at 33.2, so just a few hundred meters before. This might explode this group for the rest of the race, to tell you the truth. Get the feeling that we're not going to see everyone together when they make their way across the finish line.
Yeah, it's a good call. That's a good call, I think. I have a feeling that this one is going to separate. I don't think that this is going to stick together. Especially the way
they're so calm now, right? I mean, like, the calmer they are now, the more bananas you know it's going to be in 1K.
Yeah, exactly. I think that this is going to be bonkers here in just a moment. And I have a feeling because of the way that Gina has been kind of dominating a lot of these sprints, we are going to see things completely blow apart immediately after this because nobody wants to take her to the line.
Exactly. And I would imagine the counterattacks that will come if she went. There's the arch. If she can win this one, I mean, the only way to beat her is to counter immediately after this and just try to put her behind the 8 ball. That's a lapped rider right there, actually.
Wow, where is she saving up? Is she not here any longer? Did Gina get dropped? No, she's waiting for the sprint, Dave. She didn't contest that one.
So I think she wants to win.
I think she wants to win outright.
So saving yourself through that sprint takes a lot of patience, that's for sure. But she's right there.
Should let Bockhorst maybe go for it, you think? Or no, not Bockhorst, Heisbor. Excuse me, Heisbor. No, Heisbor is her teammate. So, that was interesting. Not what I was expecting from her after so many, kicks there. But I guess knowing yourself is really like a huge part of the battle in cycling, isn't it, Dave?
Absolutely, knowing your strengths, weaknesses, and where you're at that moment. But Roca has a huge advantage right now here with 4 riders in this group. Crushpod with 2, NL with 2.
That's a good call, actually. And Roca, where are they?
Move up into the top. They're going to move up into at least the top 3 after this.
Yeah, we're possibly only one race in. 2. I mean, this is a big one for them. Really big one.
Crushpod probably gets 3rd or 4th with 2 riders in this group. Odds are pretty good. So I don't know that you won't surpass them, but odds are pretty good that Roca Corba's 2nd place team when this sprint settles.
Depends on how they do, though, here. There's plenty of riders,
Even
right,
if they don't do well, they're still going to take so many of the top. Yeah. I mean, if they can put a couple riders in the top 6, that should be enough.
Well, they're on the push. They're the ones taking this on here. It's that's a little early. That was a little bit early, but still pressing on.
One way to control the outcome is to control the speed at the front, right? If you can do that without completely burning through your team, it's well advised. And it looks like this is now going to go to the line. They're coming up on 1K now.
Allie, Oh, of course, Escort. Sharp is here from Roca. Good to see. Ryder, we haven't focused on a whole lot
This is
just
a great
yet,
day
but
for
perhaps.
Roca.
Yeah, this is a really good day. It's been a little quieter as far as like at the front necessarily, but this is going to be Helen Sharp. Nicely positioned here. See what she can do in the sprint.
This is the team that Ashley Moolman-Passio put together a few years ago now as part of her commitment to esports. And it looks like it's really paying off here in the women's Bs. They got a strong squad, well set up, and it looks like it's going to be Bockhorst going on the attack.
Yeah, but here comes Gina. 10 watts per kilogram. She was saving for
That's
that moment,
unbeatable.
Dave. I was wondering what was going to be happening here. And this is up and over the top, actually. And she's going to need somebody to give a lead out train behind if somebody's going to be able to catch this. But I don't think it's going to be happening as Gina just punt. Whoa, at the arrow even? That's a nail in the coffin, I would think.
She could win this race with one leg, as they say. So, all right, this is going to be Gina now. I imagine she holds on, especially with the fact that she was smart enough to save it all for this kick. Bockhorst behind her with Maganol. Ali Hejbor, that's a teammate here. So 2 in the top 5. Looks like 2 in the top 4 or 5. Something close to that here. As this now is going to be, that's not the finish line. We'll see it just around the next 2 bends. I think we pick up that arch for the first. There it is. There's the finish. There's your champion, Gina, taking the win. So that's good for those massive points. Let's see how we scored. And yeah,
I think
Roca,
there it is.
Getting up there.
Roca might have done it there at the finish line against Ali. Perhaps, but nice little sprint. Team NL there go 1st and 4th though, which is a really good result for them.
It really is. The numbers though with.
So I just want to highlight that Crush Pod were number 1. I'm not sure they're going to hold on to that spot, Dave. I think
that probably Crush Pod and Team NL end up tied for the lead. After this one would be my guess.
Yeah.
That
Good call.
Mm-hmm. With Roca in third. So that was a huge day for Roca. It was very, very impressive to have 4 riders in the final selection. They're back in with the guys, down to 10K to go. This is the final race of this block of racing that we're covering here. And not all that unlike the women. It looks really, really rugged right now out there for the guys. Front group well reduced from 70 down to 27 here.
That's a really I like the brave guess there. I mean, did you see that in Zwift Power?
No, that's just a guess.
Just guess, yeah. Huh. Looking back, let's see how many riders are.
It's a little low, actually. Now that I see them fanned out more.
18.
There's 18. Yeah.
Yeah. Yarwood trying to get back on terms. That's man. Oh, the desert, across the desert, Dave.
Aye.
He's got a rhino behind him, teammate trying to come on to get on terms with him. They could make the chase together here.
It's hard to say. Is that a good or bad thing? There's a rhino behind you.
If it's your friend,
in this case, it's good. Yeah, if you're a rhino, it's good. Right. There you go. Rhino's linking up.
Rhino power.
Yeah. This is a tough day, isn't it? When you look at the frequency of the sprinting, the challenging course, it's far from flat out here today.
I thought it was going to stick together a little bit more, but Dave, things are just like all over the place, just mayhem.
Haywire. Yeah.
I think they're going to make the catch.
Because of the course?
I think they're going to make the catch, actually.
Little baby Shisha right over there on the side of the course. It does look like the rhinos are going to get back.
You see a baby Shisha?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, you're right.
Next.
How do you know that it's just a mini representation? That's a baby.
Well, right. That was artistic license.
Okay, well, you can have it.
Hey, did you see the baby Shisha? It's like, no, that was just a small regular Shisha, not a baby.
All right, here we go. This is going to be our man, Darren Yarwood. Supposedly his energy bar is full. I don't believe that, but it'll empty pretty quickly here on this climb. Here we go, as he's at 164 beats per minute.
I have never seen them using those numbers that like the wraparound type of like an arm warmer made into a number kind of thing. certainly if you're going to go to all the trouble to have that aerodynamic equipment, it's nice that you don't have a number flapping on you. So good job there, British Cycling.
Huh. Interesting. I wonder
See
who
what I
did
mean? That's
that.
not a pinned on number. That's a little armband that
Yeah.
he's wearing.
Oh.
Cool. They don't do that in the
I thought they were going to
States.
catch. Nope. They said enough is enough at the front, and they're pushing on here, Dave.
Abandon all hope. Yeah.
Yeah, Yarwood, I thought he'd make it. He's got to get more aerodynamic. That's the problem. He needs better numbers in Zwift. They don't offer those numbers in Zwift. That's the real problem here. Bond, L Bond, not J Bond, on the front now. He's got the nice little setup for WLC. As it's Leon, actually, who we're talking about here.
It's a cool name, isn't it? Leon Bond. Sounds like a jazz musician. Could be, actually. Leon there, up and out of the saddle. Man who knows his cycling.
Let us know. Do you play jazz?
I feel like he does. Jazz saxophonist. All right. These guys, though, now into the finale here. What's up next for them is... Boy, I feel like we have seen a million miles of bike racing here this morning on the second day of ZRL. So it's Shisha Sprint coming up next here in just a few hundred meters. Oh boy, these guys, I'm sure they're going to be loving that. Carlos looks ready to go.
Yeah, hanging out in Portugal. It looks like to me. Like in this, I wonder what's going. Is he on the bike?
I don't know. I feel like Carlos looks like a movie star or something. You know, very well put together gentleman.
As
act together in Portugal.
Yeah, well, he's got to get his act together for this sprint in a second for two guys because it's about to open up. I think up and over the top here, you can see it off in the distance. In that mini map there, it's a little S turn for a moment. It levels out a little bit more in just a second here. 3%, 2%, as you can see, as they get into the zero. That's when they're really going to be looking for that speed, but a little bit early on the push here. It's going to be Macedo here from Portugal.
Two guys, man. Look at all these Portuguese flags. Oh, Portugal on fire right now. This is going to be two guys making a big play to try to gather some points. Marco Macedo is the rider on the front, and he's now into the timed sector. This looks really strong.
Yeah, he might be able to do this actually here, Dave. I think he's going to get FAL. So. 1 second. Ooh, here comes Horsley. WLC on the move, though. Okay, Horsley, that's a big move here coming from him. I think he might be able to get the better of it here and just yes, it's going to happen.
Yeah, well timed, Woo! Mr. Horsley.
Kevin Horsley. He's even got a horse in his name. Look at this guy.
Of course he does. Yeah. He looks like he has a sense of humor similar to Eric Schlange, doesn't he?
Yeah, but he's not a logo.
He needs a Zwift logo to be cool. Come on, Eric.
He's got a Wahoo.
Still disappointed. That shook me up earlier today when I saw that Eric Schlange of Zwift Insider had not put his own flavor into that. I bet you by now it's already been done. If we went and looked at Eric Schlange right now, he's already put something up there.
Danny Enzo thinks I'm gatekeeping the Shishas. What is going on here? Whoa, counters happening, distractions.
Thank you, Danny.
Valenti,
yeah, right.
Nick Nellis now making the move. Good to see the TFC rider. Woo, look at this hair on this guy. What is going on with Nellis?
Look at that guy's a human party. But how about Valente finding the super tuck, Nathan? I got to shout out that Zwift craft. I don't think anybody else is pulling that off through here.
One or two have, but yeah, definitely is good to see. Nick is actually literally his avatar, just so you know. As
so we have just hit full Zwift. Like the snake's head is eating its tail at this point.
Yeah, this is Zwiftception is what's going on here at this point. So. This avatar is the avatar, Nick Nellis.
Is that meta, as the kids say?
Yes.
When your avatar is the avatar?
Probably not. Who are these kids?
No.
Who are these kids?
Brad Soner. But anyways, let's go back at
need to send
this
him
point.
Clip this and send that to him.
See if he thinks that's meta or not.
Oh, man.
When
Well,
they
Dave,
first started
separation
announcing,
is happening at this point. What's happening behind here is going to be my question. You know, we've got this little
there's a
chase
lot of
group.
points back here.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5 riders. But Rakoso on the chase. Now, what is going on with that feather power up? That's got to be a mistake. Like, what is happening right now?
Well, certainly, I've said that some things about draft power ups where it's like if you're going to use it, you need to be in a draft to get an effect. And feather up power ups on downhills are not as extreme as an anvil on an uphill, and they did neutralize that, but it doesn't make a ton of sense.
Now, look at this. What's happening right now? Barry
Any reason he'd be dumping?
Barry's waiting. Or was waiting. I thought perhaps they have a dropout. What that's going on here? I think he was waiting for this crew here because he's got a teammate with Dickoff, and Dickoff's trying to go across here. This is working together. This is totally trying to get them back involved at the front of this race. And look, they're right in sight right now, Dave. So the WLC are doing a great job of bringing this back together for their team all in black, the Wahhooligan.
So how many other Wahhooligans are up in this front group that are sitting on the back, maybe even helping create a tail for these guys to get them back up into that group a little bit easier? If they could pull that off, that is next level. But good job by Wahoo Cole here. Bob Dickoff and company. Bob racing out of the Netherlands. And they're going to rejoin. Looks like one of the CRCA, the Century Road Club of America riders, getting back up there as well. That makes a third rider for them in this group.
Who's pushing at the front? What's going on up here? Horsley says enough is enough.
Again.
Are there two? Wait a second. Are there two? Wow, there is that. They're battling each other,
There's
Dave.
Kit and the green.
So they've got the LaCole Bandits and they got the Wahhooligans, right? So just so everybody knows, they are not on the same team. WLC. You got Wahhooligans and you've got Bandits. Everybody's in trouble.
Each other.
The cops need to come and figure out what's going on here. I mean, seriously, it's Wild West. There's an attack off the front. Tugas says enough with WLC, it looks like to me.
Alejandro Malea racing today.
Is he here?
I believe.
Is he in this race?
I'm hearing that he's in the back of this group, although I'm looking for him. I always appreciate Alejandro.
What's going on with Rafael?
He was clearing up just what you were saying. That's Rafael Valente, the Tugas rider. Also looking kind of anime there. I guess that's not anime, is it? Or is it?
Maybe.
It's in the arena.
It's in between. It's halfway drawn anime.
Okay. There you go.
Rafael on the move.
I've reached full saturation today, I think, on learning. They say you need to learn something every day, Nathan. I think I'm at 18 things at this point. Valente on the front now.
Yeah, look at the energy bar slowly just draining as he continues on off the front here at this point, trying to get these points here through this tide pool. 32.9, finishing up here just a moment. We've only got the sprint and the finish at this point, Dave.
I really noticed, with the pedaling styles that there's such a dramatic difference. He's a high RPM guy here versus sort of like I've come to really respect what Kristen Kolchinsky was doing when you feel the force that she's using to make those watts at the slower RPM. But this is a guy, and also it's really cool that either way works for different riders and different physiologies. But unfortunately, I think that Mr. Valente is going to feel the sting of the chase as they are not giving much leash. He's now into the final sector before we go to the finish. This is Tide Pool Sprint that we are locked in on now.
Yeah, taking a look here, closing it down on him pretty quickly. Schwartz, there's not much of a press here from behind at this point, Dave. I thought there was going to be a bigger kick. He might hold on right to the line. I think this is a good example. Wow, nicely done.
Valente with enough in the tank. He'll go back into the group. Let's see if he can reload or a counterattack coming from. Is that going to be Wahoo Lacole? It is. It's going to be Dickoff there. Or just getting up to the front.
It was speed. He was trying to get that sprint, I think, is what was going on there. And came through. Was he
using? Yeah, that drafting power up was used effectively. It ran out.
Who knows what he's got now? I don't think because it would have ran out that quickly. He's got a new one.
Everybody got a new power up there at Tide Pool Sprint for the finish of this race. If you've been watching, you're probably aware that it's Aero Draft or Feather today. You've heard of those. If you haven't, welcome to Zwift. Right.
See what's going on with this. Yes, I want to know what's happening with this
You've
lead
been here
group.
for a while. It's good to have you. And yeah, there are power-ups.
Well, who's here? Aaron Barry's got a really good kick up into 13.3, I believe. Who else is in this? Is Will Miller still here with us at the front, or has he been dropped?
Sure is.
Yeah, Will Miller, be on the watch out for him.
Will?
Yeah, so there's pretty good kicks there from those riders. Looking through Cage Emmanuel. Wow, they're opening it up early here, Dave. Really early. I was going to try and get some comparisons going here, but they do not care to wait around. That's for sure.
No, here we go. Boy, makes the sprint that much tougher when they're going this hard into it. Leon Bond right up there. It is now jumping in with these guys for the finale. So many points waiting at the finish and quite a mix of teams in this group. I mean, it looks to me like there's 3 teams with 3 riders. That's just kind of a thumbnail sketch, but this one's going to really, it's not just going to be this group and the points scored here, but the group behind them. There's enough in play that those points are absolutely going to dramatically affect the outcome here. But these guys realize that the big points waiting at the finish line are going to be the impact that they can have. And here we go, locked and loaded, not a drill, big time bike racing back on Zwift. And this should be a great finale. One of the larger groups, Nathan, that we've brought into 700 meters to go. And they're already hitting out.
Yeah, wow, already taking off at this point at the front. It is going to again be PTZ on the move. Macedo now, I believe it's going to be Portugal. Tugas actually, excuse me on that one, not PTZ. Well, I've seen a PTZ kid actually. Macedo must be riding for PTZ and then Tugas. So these are 2 separate teams with just both coming out of Portugal, I believe. At this point, Ferreira, though, sitting on the wheel. Drafting power up being a defensive power up there early. Not going to be able to hold on, I think, here as Horsley now kicks 8.6 watts per kilogram from the main group now at this point, getting the better, I think, of everybody onto this 0% gradient. Big kick here, 600 watts. I don't know if this holds, though. Will Miller's got a big kick still.
I think it does, but you never know. And around the bend, there's the finish.
You're right. Wow, the timing behind you saw a battle between Sisu and Rhinos there. But Horsley, that's a good lesson, isn't it, Dave? About when to go, because Miller had more watts per kilogram in the final 200, but I think Horsley just went at the right time.
Great example of when in doubt, lead it out. That paid off for Horsley that time through for sure. And I hope riders racing later today or in the future on this course remember that. That was certainly Zwiftcraft at its best. So Horsley for the win. We'll take a look at our top 10 as we wrap up our broadcast window here throughout all of the EMEA. Some great racing today. Fun course. 2 laps out here on the Island Hopper in McCurry. That's what it's all about. Thank you, Paul. I'm a big fan of Paul Hamlet out there as well. That's Kevin Horsley on top of the table with Captain Crit, excuse me. Cece right there in second. Kevin Crit sounds good too. Will Miller in for third. Kaj Emanuel for fourth. Diego, this is the finish positions for our riders here. For Diego Martino in fifth. Nick Nellis in sixth, Carlos Ferreira in seventh, Leon Bond finds eighth, Rafael Valente in ninth, and Ramon Uzbrink in 10th. So, all right, Nathan, that was fun.
Look at these
Kevin
guys.
Horsley getting the win. These guys need to work on their senses of humor. I think taking themselves too seriously at this point.
Is that a rhino? Is he actually wearing a rhino? Or is that a pig?
It's a unicorn.
Or a unicorn? I'm not sure what's going on there.
That's hard to say. Now that I think about it, that might not be an animal I'm familiar with.
But I just wanted to highlight real quickly the level that these guys, Horsley went early. I think Miller had the higher watt per kilogram if it came really, really down to it. But the timing there from Horsley. Who else was in there? I think the captain, we had said, right? Captain Crit was in and amongst it there with him as well. And the timing nicely done there from Captain Crit, because he's got a lot less watts per kilogram actually than the rest of those kids, but I think he's got had plenty of energy left in the tank though for the finish. It was great to see.
He's my dog.
He's my dog. That was actually a pretty cool profile picture, I got to say. Now, everybody, we still have more broadcasts to come at you later tonight for Americas for the Zwift Racing League. You can definitely check out all of the Zwift Racing League that for the rest of the series, for the rest of this round, as they are all scheduled on our YouTube. We do get a lot of those questions coming through. Where can we find? You can always head to our YouTube channel to figure out what is coming up next. One thing that hasn't been scheduled yet, because we just decided actually to cover it in the past week, is the lead-in race, though, for the Canadian National Championships. On the 4th, this Sunday, we will be broadcasting Canada versus the world, and then we will be broadcasting the following Sunday, the elites for the Canadian National Championships. That's everything that's coming up here in the next 2 weeks. ZRL, Canadian National Championships, and of course the wrap on Thursdays. Make sure to hit those follow buttons and turn your notifications if you want live notifications anytime we go live. Wrapping up though for EMEA, Dave, a lot of sprinting. What did we learn today that a lot of riders that still have racing maybe later tonight that can take away from this?
Yeah, I definitely would point at that finish, to tell you the truth. Get out in front of that one. Positioning critical today. And also, being aware that this race seems to be won in the second lap, not the first today.
Yeah, I'd agree with that 100%. A lot of FAL, and that it splits up. If you thought this was going to be sit in and sprint, this is the tough one. It looks like every single race that we watched today came down to, at the most, 20 riders. So reduced fields, be toward the front, stay involved. There's lots of points to be had at a finish line still. If you can't win sprints, it still pays off to be where you need to at the front of this race.
I think the final point for me, Nathan, is be smart about things. And if you feel you're at your limit, don't sprint and blow up at the third or fourth sprint. Hold back, trust in the process, and see if you can be there later and come good again, right? So, don't gamble big early would be my point.
Yeah, it's a good point. It's a really good point, because there's a lot of points at the finish line. If you finish within the top 10, the top 20, there's still plenty that you can have rather than just a full-on out. I mean, I guess if you want to just go full-on out FTS, FAL right off the bat and get dropped and then finish it up within the top 8. I mean, that works too. That's a tactic. You can play that. We've seen people do it, but, I'm blown away how hard this race can be in these sprints. So it's a good point.
Eight sprints in 36K is as tough as it gets. No doubt about it.
It's a really good point. All right, everybody. All right. Thanks a lot for tuning in. We will see you later tonight for the Americas broadcast. It's going to be live at 6:15 Central Time, USA. Thanks, everybody, for tuning in. And from Dave and I, we'll see you later tonight, and ride on.